If you've ever woken up to a full moon and 1 degree temperature, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and you can hit it otherwise too. It is cold out there in some parts of the country, especially here in Chicago. I think we have a high of 17 and a low of 8 throughout the course of the day. It was 1 overnight, so that was fun. But nonetheless, we are back for another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Thursday, December 4th edition. We do have our Futures Forward segment today. We have an all access today. We have some more news from the Deal Book conference yesterday. We're going to find some trades here today. We're going to break everything down for you. Full day here ahead of a big football game tonight, by the way. See how it all shakes out. I'm excited. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday, December 4th, 2025 edition begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your hump day and hump day evening. We're back for another day here in the market. We're going to break all of the stuff down for you and get you prepared. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Brian, welcome back. Good to see you. Good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Producers locked in. Peter, no more snow, but very cold. There's still snow on the ground here, but boy, oh boy, is it cold here today. As I feel you. I'm with you on that 100%. Sun-kissed Yogi, good morning. Boy, we could use some sun-kissed everything around here. It's just cold and dark. Winter is here. Winter is definitely here. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Who are you going to call? Benzinga. Okay, cool. Ghostbusters theme will always get you points here. Big Dave, good morning. Still chilly in the deep south. That's okay. We're going to warm it up in the trading account here today, I suspect. Corey, good morning. James, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Ezra, good morning. Good to see you again. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. H&H Tactical, good morning. Welcome back. Tom, good morning. It's good to see you here. Brian says it feels like 25 here in North Carolina. It's pretty cold for North Carolina, but relatively modest for where I'm at right now. HK Matt, good morning. Jim, welcome back. Neville, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Judge, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Scarlett, it's good to see you. Castle, welcome. Durkis, welcome. Matthew, Bernhard, and just passing through, welcome. JJ, good morning. Just some guy in Tennessee. Cold here too. Good morning. We're going to warm it up. Marty, good morning. Good to see you again. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Good to see you again. Work Life, good morning. Welcome back. Austin, it's good as always. Kenneth, good as always. And Uncle Dracula from Transylvania is clocking in. We're ready to rip here. Nancy, good morning. Hope you had a good one and are having a good day here today. Let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures kind of flat-ish here. S&P futures unchanged right now. Oh, you know what? I beg your pardon. I had the wrong ticker in there. S&P futures up 0.07%, still very close to unchanged. Dow futures up 0.07%, and the NASDAQ futures actually turning red here, down 0.02%. All three of the indices very, very close to unchanged ahead of Thursday's open here. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Financials, energy, and industrial stocks recorded the biggest gains on Wednesday, though utilities and information technology issues bucked the trend to close lower. Broadly, U.S. stocks settled higher, with the Dow Jones rising more than 400 points as weak private employment data cemented expectations for a rate cut next week. Meanwhile, as Wall Street chatter about a December rate cut and the new Federal Reserve chair took center stage, President Trump was reportedly contemplating appointing U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as his chief economic advisor if incumbent Kevin Hassett is chosen for the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. The ADP report on Wednesday indicated that U.S. private employers shed 32,000 jobs in November, missing the forecast for a 5,000 gain and revising October's 42,000 additions. This reinforced views of a cooling labor market. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.09%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.51%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here. The first one is going to be Path. This is UiPath. This is an AI name that we've talked about before, although it really hasn't been, I would say it's probably not one of the more popular ones. But nonetheless, that jumped 9.02% in the pre-market on Thursday after reporting upbeat third quarter financial results and issuing fourth quarter sales guidance with its midpoint above estimates. So decent report there. Market's rewarding it. This is one of those that really didn't trade up into earnings, and so we're seeing it trade up post-print. Salesforce is the next stock on our list here. That's ticker CRM. That rose 2.02% after reporting better than expected third quarter earnings and raising its full year 26 guidance. Snowflake is melting. That's right. Snowflake, ticker SNOW, tumbled 8.87% despite reporting better than expected third quarter results, as its operating margin guidance appears to be weighing on shares. It said that it expects an adjusted operating margin of 7% in the fourth quarter. That's down from 11% in the third quarter. The next stock on our list is a good one, a popular one, I should say. Lululemon, ticker LULU. That was up 0.0055%. That's basically flat, folks, as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings at $2.21 per share on revenue of $2.48 billion after the closing bell today. The last stock on our list is Nauticus Robotics. That's ticker KITT. That soared 31.41% after reports that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been meeting with the robotics industry CEOs and supports efforts to accelerate growth in that sector. All right, let's start with the SPY chart. And I'll be honest, this actually looks pretty good. I know we've talked a little bit recently about this kind of the market looking like it wants to trade higher. We've had a number of folks say pretty much the same thing. The target sure seems to be 7,000 on the S&P cash or 700 here on the SPY. When we have futures forward on, we're going to talk to David Green and we'll get levels for the futures tickers as well on where we think the market is going. But looking at the SPY chart here, same deal. When we broke above the trend line, we consolidated and moved sideways instead of breaking down. In fact, when we did trade down, we actually back tested the trend line and held it, which is also really good. And now it looks like we've started to curl up here and we are trading higher. Now, 684 is one of the key levels. I understand SPY is currently at 684.37 here in the pre-market ahead of the opening bell today. But that 684 level, that's pretty key. And if we take a look back in the intraday charts here, you'll notice that the thing that happened yesterday is we actually got above this 684 level. So if I put my cursor here, you can see we used this as resistance on Friday, November 28th. We actually tried to trade up to that Tuesday, December 2nd, couldn't quite get there. And then yesterday we did trade above it, although we did not close above it. So that's the distinction. Closing price yesterday, 683.89. We still don't have a daily close on the SPY above 684, despite peaking above that level yesterday in the afternoon and again here in the pre-market. So as far as today goes, if I zoom into today's pre-market, here we are. We're above 684, but we're kind of trying to press the range higher. Let's see if we can actually break out and continue the run that we saw yesterday. Remember, we got that news about Microsoft in the morning. That sunk the market. Microsoft then came out and defended and said we didn't cut sales quotas. The market, the buy the dippers, they caught hold of the market yesterday. And frankly, if you look at this, it's basically bounced off the lows from the previous session from Tuesday. So basically, Tuesday's intraday lows bounced from there, took out 684, but couldn't close above it. The question that I have today is, can we get that first close above 684? If we do, and it sure looks like we're going to continue to break out, I have the next target here at the all-time high. That is 689.70. Too early to say if we're actually going to close above that or test that prior to the Fed meeting next week. All right, let's take a look at some insights from analysts. Professor Jeremy Siegel has identified a critical turning point for the U.S. economy as the 10-year Treasury yield falls. That's one we talk about here every day. Siegel argues this market movement is a leading indicator. Quote, telling us far more about the next phase of Fed policy than most of the stale, backward-looking data, end quote. Consequently, he believes the Federal Reserve has ample room to maneuver, predicting that a 25-point basis cut is very much in play for the upcoming meeting. Last time I checked the CME Fed Watch tool, I believe the percentage was 89 and change. So that had actually moved up from the 84 and change reading that we had the last time that we took a look at that together. So that continues to move in the direction of getting a rate cut. Siegel describes the current labor market as a no fire, no hire environment, neither overheating nor collapsing, which supports continued consumer spending despite gloomy sentiment surveys. Turning to the technology sector, Siegel highlights the intensifying race between major AI platforms like Gemini and OpenAI. While he cautions investors to be realistic about the fierce competition and depreciation costs of AI hardware, his long-term outlook remains positive. He concludes that over the long run, AI will significantly boost productivity and earnings, and that supports equities. Now let's actually take a quick look at Google. This is a stock. I take a look at Google every day. This is actually made for a great swing trade, but also has actually made a really good intraday trader. Here's what the daily chart looks like. The intraday chart, man, if you can catch Google on the right day, this is pretty much all you need if you're going to be day trading here. Looking at the daily chart, we had the impulse move. We came back in a little bit. Now it sure looks like we're curling. If I extend this trend line out a little bit, you can see that yesterday's candle actually moved us through the trend line and we got to close above it. Today here, up about 0.5% in the pre-market. We'll see if we can make a move towards this high here. I have that high of 328.67 on Google. Now, what's going on here? Alphabet's quiet AI chip bet suddenly looks like the next multi-billion-dollar machine. So that makes me wonder if Google is actually a good long-term investment, even at these elevated levels. Investors are increasingly eyeing Alphabet's in-house artificial intelligence chips as a potential breakout business, betting that the company's tensor processing units could evolve from behind-the-scenes strength to a new major revenue engine. Wall Street is increasingly betting that tensor processing units, or TPUs for short, could become a major revenue driver for Google's parent company. The TPU's internal success has already fueled a 31% rally in Alphabet stock in the fourth quarter, ranking it among the top performers in the S&P 500. Analysts highlight that selling TPUs to third parties could open nearly a $1 trillion market opportunity, while even internal uses strengthen Google's cloud by boosting efficiency and AI performance. Wall Street sees Alphabet's chips as a strategic advantage. Jill Deloria of D.A. Davidson told Bloomberg, TPU offers a viable alternative to companies seeking to diversify from NVIDIA, noting that the business could eventually surpass Google Cloud in value. How about that? Morgan Stanley projects strong TPU adoption, estimating 5 million units sold in 2027 and 7 million in 2028, adding roughly $13 billion to Alphabet's revenue. Alphabet has already made moves signaling potential external TPU sales, including a multi-billion-dollar supply agreement with Anthropic and reported talks with Meta, ticker META. Wellington Altus Private Wealth's James E. Thorne argued that Meta's reported shift toward Google's TPUs reflects a tactical response to NVIDIA's supply constraints, not a weakening of NVIDIA's dominance. He says hyperscalers are using TPUs as cost-effective hedges because NVIDIA's Blackwell and Rubin graphic processing units face long wait times, but stresses that high switching costs to CUDA-related software friction prevents any broad industry move away from NVIDIA. Thorne adds that TPUs provide extra capacity, not a true replacement, and calls the market sell-off in NVIDIA a predictable bearish hit in an overheated environment. So I think that's a lot of words to say in the long run. He thinks this is going to be fine and that NVIDIA is actually not going to be in trouble, even if there is increased competition. That signals that the demand for these chips and processing units is still very, very strong. Semi-Analysis founder Dylan Patel says competition is tightening as Google and Amazon ramp up custom AI chip production, putting fresh pressure on NVIDIA. He noted Google's TPUs are running at full capacity and argues that selling them directly rather than limiting them to cloud rentals could unlock massive market value and become NVIDIA's biggest long-term threat. Patel added that the future balance of power will hinge on where AI development concentrates. Custom silicon gains ground when a few tech giants dominate workloads, while broader industry demand still favors NVIDIA's general-purpose GPUs. So we'll see how this all shakes out. I'd be curious to know if any of you do like Google more than NVIDIA, especially when it comes to the AI trade. Now, we did have some other kind of worrisome comments come out of the Dealbook Summit that went yesterday. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei is very concerned about YOLO AI spending. This should be fun. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei has raised concerns about excessive spending in the AI industry, warning that it could lead to dire consequences. Boy, we've been on here. We've been saying that for a while. We've been ahead of the Anthropic CEO, the Happy Hour group too. Amodei, speaking at the New York Times Dealbook Summit on Wednesday, expressed his apprehensions about the current spending trends in the AI sector. He pointed out that while the technological advancements are promising, the economic side of the industry is precarious due to overspending, particularly by competitors. Amodei emphasized the potential risks associated with overspending, especially if there are timing errors. He described the situation as a core dilemma and expressed concerns about uncertainty of AI's economic value growth and the lag time in building the data centers that drive it. Quote, I think there may be players in the ecosystem who, if they just make a timing error, they just get off by a little bit, bad things can happen, end quote. The industry has begun calling the surge in AI investment YOLO, or you only live once. Amodei noted how difficult it is to forecast future compute requirements, and he warned of the risks of both under and over investing. Quote, I think there are some players who are YOLO, and I'm very concerned, end quote. He also emphasized that companies and governments must start preparing for large-scale workforce retraining as AI rapidly evolves and absorbs more jobs. The AI industry's spending has been a topic of concern recently. The CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, warned that the math behind the AI supercycle doesn't add up, with an estimated $8 trillion in capital spending requiring about $800 billion in profits just to service the interest. Despite these concerns, AI spending has been a crucial factor in the U.S. economy, with a recent analysis by the Kobesi letter revealing that without the massive capital infusion into AI infrastructure, the U.S. would currently be in an economic recession. Meanwhile, Anthropic, backed by Google and Amazon, is laying the legal and financial groundwork for what could be one of the largest tech IPOs ever. The company has hired Silicon Valley firm Wilson Sonsini for early IPO prep and is negotiating a funding round that may push its valuation above $300 billion, including a major step towards a potential 2026 public debut. And really quickly, just on that debut, I am definitely expecting that in 2026. In fact, not only am I expecting Anthropic, but I am also expecting OpenAI and Databricks to IPO. We'll see how all of those do. That actually should make for some pretty good trading around those IPOs. It was reported in October that the company expects to hit $9 billion in annual revenue run rate target by the end of 2025 and is projecting $20 to $26 billion in annualized revenues next year, driven by strong enterprise demand. Its current run rate is nearing $7 billion, which is up more than $5 billion in August. All right, next stock to take a look at here is going to be Snow. We kind of mentioned that in the stocks in focus here. Snow did report earnings last night and is melting here today. Down 8.83%. You can see on the chart exactly what this looks like. First of all, if we start by looking to the left here, you'll notice that we actually had a pretty big downtrend line that originated back during 2020, so December of 2020. We now, with the move down here and the recent recovery, we now have another even steeper trend line that we're going to have to break before we change that longer, less steep downtrend that we've been in. So this is what the daily chart looks like. We did lose the 50. Next stop here is the 100-day. That's at 232.25. And then below that, we have 205.5 as your 200-day moving average. Now, I must say the snow melting, that was absolutely copied from one of our superb writers here at Benzinga, Adam Eckhart. So props to him for the dad joke. You know, I love my dad jokes and all of the, I give bonus points for that. So kudos to you, Adam. I had to borrow your joke here. Snowflake reported financial results for the third quarter after the close on Wednesday. Snowflake delivered third quarter revenue of $1.21 billion, beating analyst estimates of $1.18 billion, according to Benzinga Pro. The AI data cloud company reported adjusted adjusted earnings of 35 cents per share for the period, beating analyst estimates of 31 cents per share. Total revenue was up 29% year over year with a net revenue retention rate of 125%. Product revenue came in at $1.16 billion, also up on a year-over-year basis. Remaining performance obligations totaled $7.88 billion. That was up 37% year over year. Snowflake said it ended the quarter with 688 customers with trailing 12-month product revenue greater than $1 million. The company also had approximately $1.94 billion in cash and cash equivalents at the quarter's end. Quote, Snowflake is the cornerstone for our customers' data and AI strategies, driving real business impact at scale. Snowflake Intelligence, our enterprise AI agent, saw the fastest adoption ramp in Snowflake history and is transforming how businesses interact with their data, delivering real-time actionable intelligence. That, end quote. That came from Sridhar Ramaswamy, the CEO of Snowflake. Snowflake expects fourth quarter product revenue in the range of $1.19 billion to $1.2 billion, up approximately 27% year over year. The company noted it expects adjusted operating margin of 7% in the fourth quarter, down from 11% in the third quarter. Operating margin guidance appears to be weighing on shares after hours. In connection with the earnings, Snowflake provided updates on its collaborations with Amazon Web Services and Accenture. The company also announced it expanded a $200 million partnership with Anthropic to bring agentic AI to global enterprises. Really quick, what I got from one of the chat members yesterday is apparently there was a rumor floating out there that Snowflake was going to talk about some deal with Google. That never materialized. The speculation is that that's one of the reasons why the stock is trading down here today, despite a fairly decent earnings report. Okay, another AI stock that reported earnings yesterday, that's going to be UiPath. Let's go back to the chart and take a look at the PATH chart. That's ticker PATH. Here's what it looks like. This has been a UI player that has really been forming a pretty substantial base. I know we had one move up here in 2023. That move melted and basically went right back to this sideways range here. Recently, as of October, in the heights of this AI I guess euphoria we could call it, we did have one run. That run stalled, bled back, but bounced clean off of the 200 and bounced into this report. Now, I know short term, the last couple of days it bounced into this report, but if we take a little bit of a longer look, most of October has been in a downtrend here for PATH. So a nice bounce off of the 200-day here with the gap up 8.34% in the pre-market. We are above all of the moving averages, the 100, the 50, the 20, and even that 500 that has been kind of a downsloping, pretty kind of a nasty downslope. The last time we were above the 500 was early January of 2022. And so today, I guess, we popped above that briefly. If we pop above it again, let's see if we give this back, right? The last time that we popped above the 500-day, we back tested it, tried to stay above it, but eventually gave it up. That's why I'm thinking that the last time that we were meaningfully above this moving average, perhaps that's the language I should have used, was all the way back ended in early January of 2022. So now that we've made this move here today, the key level here for PATH is for sure 15. I absolutely want the stock to hold above the $15 level. That 1501 is the 500-day moving average. If it does that here today, perhaps then we can make a move towards the 1881 or so high. Let me get that exact number there. 1874 as the exact number there. That recent high would also represent a possible breakout spot. Now, looking at the report here, UiPath stock jumped in Wednesday's extended trading after the company released its third quarter earnings report, beating expectations on the top and bottom line. UiPath reported quarterly earnings of 16 cents per share, which beat the street estimate of 15 cents per share. Quarterly revenue clocked in at $411.11 million, which beat the consensus of $392.97 million, and was up from revenue of $354.65 million in the same period last year. UiPath reported the following highlights from its report. APR of $1.782 billion as of October 31st, ARR, annual run rate of $1.782 billion as of October 31st, 2025. That was an increase of 11% year over year. Net new ARR of $59 million. dollar-based retention rate of 107%, non-GAAP gross margin was 85%, non-GAAP operating income was $88 million, and non-GAAP adjusted free cash flow was $28 million. Quote, I'm pleased with our third quarter results, delivering an ARR of $1.782 billion, which was up 11% year over year, a testament to the team's focus, consistent execution, and the momentum we're seeing as customers scale agentic automation across the enterprise. That came from Daniel Dines, UiPath's CEO. UiPath sees fourth quarter revenue in the range of 462 to 467 million. That's versus the 462.9 million estimate. Okay, and then one more thing that I wanted to mention here. This involves a couple of our favorite stocks here. Palantir on Wednesday introduced Chain Reaction, a new operating system designed to bolster the nation's fast-growing artificial intelligence infrastructure. Palantir designed Chain Reaction to address what it calls the new bottleneck in AI innovation, not algorithms, but power and compute. As the U.S. accelerates its energy infrastructure build-out, the platform aims to help energy producers, power distributors, data centers, and infrastructure builders transform aging power assets to high uptime resources. It also helps stabilize and expand the electric grid to meet rising demand from data centers and nationwide electrification. The platform speeds up the construction of new generation, transmission, and compute capacity. It also enables faster design and replication of future hyperscale data centers. CenterPoint Energy, ticker CNP, and NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, joined Palantir as founding partners. Tristan Gruska, Palantir's head of energy infrastructure, said that Palantir has spent years deploying systems that keep power plants running and grids reliable, and that the chain reaction, because that's going to take me a while to get over. And by the way, every time I hear that, I think of the Keanu Reeves movie, but that's neither here nor there. That chain reaction is built specifically for the demand of AI. CenterPoint Energy deepened its partnership with Palantir after Hurricane Beryl struck Houston in 2024, selecting the company as its software backbone. CEO Jason Wells said energy consumption in the greater Houston region is projected to grow nearly 50% in 5 years and double in the mid-2030s, driven by diverse sectors including tech, healthcare, industrial manufacturing, and energy. He said CenterPoint is working with Palantir and Chain Reaction partners to meet this growth sooner. NVIDIA recently announced a collaboration with Palantir at GTC DC to build an integrated technology stack for operational AI. Palantir will integrate AIP, ontology, NVIDIA's new Motron models, CUDA-X libraries, and accelerated computing to simplify the complex supply chains needed for gigawatt-scale AI factory buildouts. Palantir stock is up 133% year-to-date, powered by U.S. commercial revenue, fueled by its artificial intelligence platform, abbreviated as AIP. Bank of America securities analyst Mariana Perez Mora has highlighted the company's growing strength in turning data into operational gains. After attending AIPCon 8 in San Francisco, she highlighted Palantir's ontology architecture and hands-on engineering support as key drivers of adoption and deeper consumer spending. Perez Mora noted that Palantir's approach enables employees beyond IT and data science to generate measurable business outcomes, creating a multiplier effect that spreads adoption across entire organizations. She pointed to 40% year-over-year spending growth from Palantir's top 3 customers and 30% growth from the top 20, signaling strong customer stickiness. Palantir's value-based business models, which ties pricing to delivered results, insulated the company from cyclical pressures. NVIDIA became the first company in the top market capitalization of $4.5 trillion, powered by the AI frenzy. So Palantir, looks like that's not going anywhere. Palantir is actually up here this morning. Oh, yeah, up fractionally here this morning. Palantir actually had a pretty good day earlier this week. So, all right, let's go back to the chart. Actually, I'm going to take a look here at Palantir. Here's what we're looking at. So we did not quite test that 200-day moving average, But as I was saying recently here, this has actually made a pretty good move higher. We are above the 20-day by several points here, and it sure looks like the 50-day, that value 179.14 or just about 179-ish, that actually should be a key level here today. Furthermore, if we show you the trend line that we were recently in, sure looks like Palantir has broken out of that near-term downtrend. We'll see what kind of strength and staying power it has. Okay, it is that time for Futures Fever. David, I see David here, but I'm not sure if he's there. Camera's off. David, let me know. Get that camera on. We'll bring you on here. Otherwise, what we can do in the meantime while we're waiting for him is take a look at some other stocks if you'd like. I'm all set with the news here. Let's see. You guys want to take a look at PLRZ? Let's do that here real quick because I noticed that was up here again today and up bigly here today. Let's take a look inside at the chart here. Here was Polyrizon. So first of all, if I delete yesterday or if I delete the pre-market here, here's what we had. So on Tuesday, we traded this stock. We had a couple of pops here. Those were all met by some pullbacks. We then traded sideways for the most part yesterday. I know we had a little bit of a move up here, right? A little bit of a move right before the market opened, and then we kind of grinded up the rest of the day. But today, look at this big move higher here up towards $20. We did that in the after hours. We did it again here in the pre-market, and now it's really kind of come back in. So far, it's holding 16. Looks like we did kind of peak beneath 15 here. Now, I took a look at this earlier. Let's see. Okay, so we do have a PR here. From lab to global impact, Polyrizon's journey to potentially redefining next generation nasal production. This almost seems like a repeat of the PR that we got yesterday. I'd actually have to go through them or maybe use an AI tool to draw comparisons between the two PRs. That's a pro tip, by the way. You can copy and paste a lot of those actual PRs right here out of Pro, drop them into your favorite large language model and have them analyze what's different about this. Is there a word count that's important? So on and so forth. This kind of looks like a rehash. Stock is up 125% here today. So I suspect that this is going to be in play here today. I do want to emphasize being careful with this. It was not long ago, Monday. The stock was $3.18 and it's 16 here today. So let's be very careful with that one. All right. Let's see if David, camera not ready yet here. Tyler bringing up an oldie but a goodie. We'll definitely take a look at that. Tyler actually bringing up a couple of here, but I want to take a look at INOD because this is actually a stock that we talked about, wrote about, and traded years ago. INOD made a huge move. This was something, I know we talk about happy hour here quite a bit. This was one of the discussions that we had in happy hour way back when this stock was in the $3 handle. I traded this stock from $3 to 11 and thought I was doing a real good job, then watched it go above 80. Then watched it go above 80. So just a massive move here in INOD. Here's the thing. We've pulled back recently, and so far we've held the 50. To me, it sure looks like this is going to trade higher here. I would imagine as long as the AI craze continues, INOD is going to be a crucial player in this. One of the things that they do here is they have automated AI-based tools that remove like hateful speech and things like that. Some of their customers are customers like Google and Facebook or Meta, some other really big companies. So they don't have the greatest management team. I want to say, I don't want to call them lazy because they're not that. I want to say almost a little bit sleepy. But in any case, stock's been a really good performer. It did pull back. Tyler, I'm glad that you brought this up because this pull back and held the 200-day sure looks like another move back towards the highs here would be possible. Okay. So producer, so we're looks like we're still having some tech issues here with David. So H&H Tactical is saying, when I say careful, that means full send. Look, you guys are able to trade any way that you want, but I am definitely more conservative than most of you. From doing this show now for a lot of years, there's definitely a gunslinging aspect out there that I don't have anymore. So I will say that that's not true, H&H Tactical, although I can appreciate the joke that you're making there. Okay. It's much better to sell than to sell too late. Actually, that's very true. That's very true. And here's the thing. I mean, this looking like this might be at another reload area here. So I would actually trade this against that 200-day, meaning a dip below, a substantial dip below that 200-day. Probably not something that I want to stick around for. That's for sure. All right. Let's see, what else can we do here? I'll take a look at some of those other stocks that you had suggested. Tyler wanted to take a look at Accenture, ticker ACN. Now, I will say this is one that, Tyler, you know what you should do, or you know what we should do? I'll try and remember this, but I've got goldfish brain, so you might have to help me out with it. This is a stock that Mark Petrino likes an awful lot. I don't trade Accenture very often. I don't have a long-term position in this in any of my accounts as far as I'm aware. So I don't really have a good line on this, but this is a this company can really, really move, and the options on this can be awesome. And Mark Petrino really likes this. So I think one of the things that we should do is ask him about this when he comes on his segment here tomorrow. Now, giving you my breakdown here on this, sure looks like this thing has really kind of put in a bottom here. I know we've been in a downtrend after we resolved this double top. Was it more of a triple? No, this near-term double top, which is below the all-time highs that was set post-COVID. It does look like we've really kind of held this support level. So the double bottom here that goes back to 2022, that's basically where we consolidated here. We've kind of broke out of this range now. We've broke back above this 260 spot. And if I recall, correctly, I want to say that this 260 spot was a level that Mark had identified when we had looked at this in the past. I believe that's where this is from. I mean, looking at the chart here, it's very clear where it comes from. It just this really feels like a Mark Petrino level. I am in a bullish put credit spread on ACN right now. I entered that trade in 1024. Day trader, you might have a better memory than me. Can you remember, did we have Mark talking about ACN around that time? I know we've mentioned it a few times in the past. I just can't place the last time we talked about it. But in any case, it does look like this is kind of trading up off of the bottom. It's great that it broke down or broke through the 260 area. The swift move down that it made starting in July here, not a whole lot of trading in there. Actually looks a little bit gappy on the chart, and I'm not surprised to see that we very quickly in one session on good volume moved back through that entire range. I do think there might be some resistance here, 276, 277. We are entering, actually technically we are overbought here by looking at the RSI with a reading of 70.5. But I still think this might have some more room to go. To me, it sure looks like right now the trade that's on is going towards 282. That's going to be your 200-day moving average. Tyler here says, I'm buying ACN for my long-term here, as well as a small INOD position. Yeah, Accenture, this is generally looked at as a really good long-term stock. And again, we've at a very, very clear, important support level here. So I think adding it on a discount is a good idea. Adding in a discount is a good idea. Day trader, honestly, I'm not sure, Ryan. That's okay. I don't ever really mean to put anyone else on the spot. I forget some of those smaller details often. Okay, but good stuff there on ACN. Not one that we often take a look at. 2 weeks till this company report earnings. In fact, it is exactly 2 weeks. Thursday, December 18th. Boy, that's going to be a big day. Yeah, that's going to be a big day. Next week, 10th and 11th is our Fed. The U.S. Fed, and then next week, that following week, 17th and 18th, is going to be the Bank of Japan. I know a lot of folks are looking at that. Next stock we'll take a look at, we'll do Ondas here. Izzy saying, is news on Ondas pull? I don't see any fresh news here on Ondas, but we're going to take a look at this because I got to be honest with you. You guys know I always give it to you straight here. Even if you disagree with me, I give it to you straight here. There was way too much freaking out on Ondas yesterday. I don't know how else to say it. The stock moved down. There was way too much freaking out about this. This stock, and I'll say it again. I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. This stock is very, very highly followed on social media, X, StockTwits, any of those other social platforms. There's a lot of talk about Ondas. There's a lot of people that are very, very bullish on it, like myself, that constantly talk about it. There's another cohort that thinks the stock is a zero. And then there's obviously everyday flippers that are in and out of this thing. There's been several big accounts that have talked about this thing. Nothing changes the fact that the news yesterday was great. So awesome that we popped on that news. I know we sold back off. I know it was making people worried, but look at the rest of the day. Look at what happened. Look at what happened. The whole rest of the day, this thing got bought right back up. Now we've got a really clear trend line here, like we develop off some of these other movers. This should give us a target to break here. This is very, very strong action. And if we go to the daily chart here, look at what your daily chart looks like. You had a big meteoric move. You had a pullback that retraced what, about 50% of that move? Yeah, 50, maybe 60% of the move. We held at the 100-day moving average, which was probably a very healthy thing to do. And now we're moving back up. In fact, the recent sell-off that brought us to the 50, that's being met with buying. So I'm glad to see Ondas break above yesterday's this near-term high. I'm glad to see the performance yesterday. Actually, yesterday it did break above that pre-market high, right? Here's your pre-market high. We did break that right ahead of the close. And now we're holding here today. I'll be honest. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing pulled back $1 today. Would you, after watching this, some of these other days here, would you really be all that shocked? I wouldn't. My goal here, or my view on this long-term trade has been from the very first batch of shares that I've bought. It has always been a long-term trade. It is still that way. And in fact, moving out of penny territory to where we are right now, I've done so much selling on this name already that even if this does drop several points, yeah, it's going to look bad on the P&L on that day, but in the grander scheme of things, there's a ton of money to be made here. So, okay, that's basically where I'm thinking. Were people charging you up over it? No, no. The reason I'm laughing at that is because what charged me up over this stock was the massive move that it made from 77 cents to $11. That's what charged me up, and I played that the entire time there. I still think there's a future here. I still think this is going to go up here. I would not chase these green candles. Yesterday was a perfect, if you like the long-term story here, yesterday's behavior was a perfect example of why you don't chase some of these pops. This is exactly why you don't do this, because if you chased that pop yesterday and the thing immediately got sold off, you'd be like, what the hell is going on here? And if you weren't patient, oh, you probably did not have the greatest day. Okay, that's my breakdown on Ondas, just being honest with you. All right, let's go over to our David Green here. Let me see. Where is this? Here we go.
Welcome to Futures Fever, where we dive deep into the...
I played the wrong one, producer. I'm sorry. That's totally my fault. I'm just going to go old-fashioned and do a cold open. David, how you doing?
Sorry about that, guys and girls. Little technical difficulties. But we are here. We are ready to rock and roll. What's going on?
All right. I'm not going to waste any more time of giving my breakdown on a number of things and gone over some of the news. What are you seeing out there in the futures?
Nothing, really. Tiny little pullback this morning. We're actually up a tiny little bit. Gold's down a little bit. Not much. Yesterday was probably one of the slowest trading days we have had in a very, very, very long time. Not a lot of volatility, kind of just sitting around, doing nothing for most of the day. Futures right now are kind of doing absolutely nothing. SPYs, I mean, to me, it looks like probably want to make new highs by the end of the year. A lot of people have that 7,000 target. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Tomorrow, give me your gut feeling, David. Don't punt on that. Give me your gut.
Yeah.
You've been doing this a long time, man. Your gut feeling is valuable.
I mean, again, we're day traders for the most part, Ryan, so I don't really care. But if you twisted my arm, I'm going to say we make new highs by the end of the year. We're 1% away. I mean, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. Again, it doesn't affect our everyday what we're doing here anyway, but all things are pointing in that direction. I mean, here's the daily chart. Right. We had and it was a bit of a correction. We were down 5-6% from the all-time highs at one point. So it was more than a little pullback. We had a mini correction. And, we've been up, 7 out of the last 8 days now. Kind of neutral with our relative strength. And 1% from all-time highs. So, again, if you twisted my arm, I'd say we probably got to go in that direction.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. The $7,000 target seems like an obvious one too.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go over futures, see where we're sitting right now, see if we're going to put any orders out. All right, here is our S&P 500 futures. Again, I mean, we've had less than a 5-point range the entire morning. Let's put a couple orders out, just the if we do. Let's see, we're trading at 68.65. So just for the opening, we have our pivot point down at 68.52. We'll put a little order out down there. We'll go over gold too. Pop a couple of these orders out down here. And when I'm looking at the futures, guys, I want at least a 10-point move to hit one of my technicals. This is our pivot point all the way down here. Mm-hmm. And it's 12 points away. So let's get an order out at 68.52. On the downside. Peter will be with us in a couple minutes. I think he's stuck on the subway, as usual.
Okay. How cold is it in New York, by the way?
I don't know. I'm in Florida. Who cares?
I'm going to tell him you said that.
You can tell him I said that. I say it every day.
All right, let's do it right now. Let's bring him on. Peter, good morning. How you doing here?
Well, I'll tell you a couple different things. First thing is there's no hot water in my house, so that was a little bit of a frisky shower. Otherwise,
that'll wake you up in a hurry.
It looks like you didn't even comb your hair yet. Come on. At least run your fingers through it.
I brushed my hair with Brillo this morning. Sorry about that. Anyway, and I haven't had water for 3 days leading up to today. And then they called me early to say, oh, the water is fixed, except there's no hot water. Anyway, it's all good. It has no effect on the market. Okay, good morning. So look, we are in the third or fourth day here of December. I think it's really important to note how we ended up November, right? We knew that there was that crazy little period in the middle of November where we really were in pain. That whole AI bubble story really knocked the market down a lot, right? And we basically gave back about 4 or 5% of what was a 17, 18% S&P rally of a year. And, a lot of the funds and a lot of mutual funds, family offices, some shut down at the end of October, just for that reason, because there's so much uncertainty, and especially this year, uncertainty around the government shutdown, about the interest rate cycle of cutting and the new Fed chair and all that kind of stuff. So those who got out at the end of October were happy. Those who stayed in were unhappy in the middle of November. But after we had knocked our probability of an interest rate cut down to 15%, which was insanity over the whole AI bubble and all this craziness. It then, after Besant's statements about hiring a new dovish chair and it spiked up back to 85%. Obviously, the market showed us where their allegiance was. All these major players who are still in the market now into the end of the year have very interest rate sensitive portfolios, because when we went down this 15% probability, they sold the living heck out of the market. The minute we spiked up to 85, the market went up 1,000. So it told us that it was actually more important about interest rates than it was about Palantir and NVIDIA earnings and all that kind of stuff. Anyway.
And Pete, by the way,
yes, sir.
Where the heck did all of a sudden it go down to 15% and why? I mean, there was no reason for that.
Absolutely no reason, but it was either gaslighting. We were not getting the economic data that we wanted, right? It was this whole thing that after the Palantir earnings and it went down 8%, which you and I know from old Wall Street was just to buy the rumor, sell the news situation. It rallied 7 days into the Palantir earnings. Of course, it's good uncertainty. NVIDIA sold off for 3 weeks into the earnings and it went up. Some story got around on the internet that AI, and this is all smoke and mirrors, it's all ridiculous. Then I think it was poking the bear. I think that's what ended up happening. Surety. And for some reason, seemed like they were getting economic data that was telling them that we didn't need a cut. I think that's nuts, because yesterday the ADP numbers came out. They told us very clearly that the jobs numbers are not good. We got that Challenger report that said there were a million layoffs. Literally within 48 hours, we knocked down to 10. And then, am I losing you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's choppy, though.
Choppy, you're freezing a little
bit.
But all good. We still see your handsome face.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Can you hear me now? Yeah, there you go. Can you hear me now? Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
All right.
And and then it spiked back up to 85. It was one of the most bizarre. I had been on a couple of shows talking about it. They've never seen anything like it. You know, it's funny, these new predictive markets are so crazy as well. You've got PolyMarket and you've got Kalshi coming up with all these numbers. I don't know if it was the government gaslighting, whether they were real numbers, whether it was Jay Powell poking the bear or what, or the AI insanity story of it being a bubble. But it did go down to 15, back up to 85. It now looks like they're going to be installed. That new guy Haskett or for the Fed chair, he's dovish. What does that mean? That means Trump wants as much 300 basis point cut over the next 4 months. You know what? It's not a political
Good luck
statement.
with that.
At the end of the day, higher interest rates for longer are not good for anybody. This is going to help jumpstart housing and real estate and a lot of other things. What we're seeing is the Thanksgiving turkey numbers were really good. That was fine. But the ADP numbers yesterday were really bad, right? We were looking at 10,000 jobs cut. It was 40,000. So where we're at is this. Yesterday, that's why the market was up strong yesterday, because early morning, these ADP employment numbers came out, which was a real number, right? It's everybody's paycheck. Okay. And it showed that we are pretty much going, it's an 85 to 88% probability of a cut in December. Okay. And so that's what the market likes. That's why it's bad news is good news. A weaker economy is good news for the market, because that means they're going to cut the rates. So look, every day at this point, you're going to start getting tricked about it. How, look, the retail buyer, the consumer, right? That's one of the things. The market's strong, but the economy may not be. And what the numbers came out of Black Friday and Cyber Monday were that they're actually in pretty good shape. I don't know if that's luck, but you know what? Even people who are struggling are still buying Christmas presents, right? So I don't know how real that number is. Somebody who can really be going paycheck to paycheck is still going to buy their kids a present for Christmas. So I don't know if that really gives you the temperature of what the economy is. But anyway, market feels really strong here. We're loving the volatility. We've had a couple of wild roller coaster days, and we're only 3 days into December. So look, this month we have the S&P rebound. We have a couple option expirations that are going to be big. MSCI was last month. We're not going to have that. We're going to have the Russell rebound end of year. So just just feel like you should be in store for some really solid, volatile, big volume days.
Yeah, I think the same thing here. It's really going to be the calendar turn that's going to have me looking for maybe a change there. Got a question from one of the viewers here, specifically for you, Peter. When do bad numbers become bad?
Well, that's curious.
When the market goes down based on what comes out.
There you go.
That's when they become bad.
Exactly. It's like orange is the new black. I mean, it's a crazy thing to say, but when bad economic numbers come out, that means that the likelihood of the Fed cutting is more likely. And right now, when in a strong, medium to strong growth economy, if you cut interest rates, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. One of the reasons Jay Powell did not cut rates until September is he felt that because of tariffs, we were in a low growth or no growth environment. And if you cut rates while they're in a low growth economic environment, you create stagflation, which is high unemployment, high inflation, and there's no secret pill to get out of stagflation. You just got to meander your way through it. So that's why he was holding his ground the whole time. It wasn't that he was trying to poke at Trump. He's an economist. The president, no disrespect, is not. And so he was holding his grounds on that. But literally September, before he made his first cut, suddenly all the economic data came in, PPI, CPI, DUI, DWI, all that crazy stuff. It all came in and showed that it was weaker than expected. So that's why the bad number is good. But when a bad number is bad, that means that everybody's just getting out of the market.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, Peter. I think you want to check in with you when you get back to the floor there. We'll get an update on what's going on.
See you in a minute. Good luck, David.
All right. Sounds good. I tell you what, Peter never does it. You know what, David? We need to, what we need to do is we need to get like a heart rate monitor that he can wear, and we can just display it as like a bug on the screen. And then we can kind of make judgments based on what his heart rate is doing. That would be tremendous. Just absolute cinema. That would be. So, okay. Anything happen? Any other trade setups happen while we were here?
When we were here 2 weeks ago last, right? And I tweeted out to everybody in our private trading room and stuff. We were looking at that BMNR. Remember we were talking about that? we got into, let's put up a daily chart into this. This is when Bitcoin got to 82, 83,000, whatever it was. And we got into a swing trade in BMNR after it had been down 4 days in a row. Our average price was like 25.50 that we got into the swing trade. And we sold most of it at the 30 level, but we got like 25% on that trade in 2 days. And I mean, this exactly followed the Bitcoin chart. It was the same exact thing. So we were talking about how do I trade Bitcoin? I can't afford to trade Bitcoin itself, right? Unless you want to trade the futures, the micro futures. But after being down 9 out of 10 days in Bitcoin, and of course, we didn't get to a 20 RSI, which is severely oversold. But historically, we got to like a 25 RSI, which you don't see very often on a daily chart, either in the spiders or anything for that matter, long term. But that was a perfect setup when we hit this. I think it was 82,000 was the low, 80,740. And if we go look at, I think it was our weekly chart or our monthly chart. Yeah, our monthly chart. Check this out, guys and girls. This is 1 month. And we had our 30 EMA at 79,873, which is basically 80,000, right? And we hit it. I mean, that was our 30 EMA on a monthly chart. You can see I had my mark out at 80,000. We missed it by like 240 points, whatever it was. But that was a signal for me to get into that BMNR, and something that, that's the one thing that I watch. We didn't touch it from 160 down to $27 when we started buying it. And it worked out being a nice little trade. But you can see I had my mark there. We missed it by like, I don't know, whatever it was, 745 points. But technically, I mean, that was just spectacular. After going down that much, we exactly hit that level. So if we're looking technically now, right, what we want to see, and I think we might have even tested this yesterday. Yeah, we did. So yesterday we tested the trend now, right, on a monthly chart, and we couldn't get above it. That was 94,485. So to me, that would be a big technical level that we have to get back above, 94,485. And I think yesterday we almost tested it for that short. And you see we backed up a couple of thousand points from there now. So something that we keep an eye on. I had calls, they were 60%, but yeah, I got you. All right, let's see if anything's happening now. Look at the S&P 500 futures. I mean, just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Only action we have right now is a little gold, and actually that's dead now, sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So futures-wise, Ryan, we're dead. We're sitting in the middle. We have a couple of orders out, way up and way down. So nothing there. If you guys have any stock questions that you want to look at.
Yeah, let's do one here real quick before I do the movers rundown with 13. One of the big stocks that really kind of and I actually be curious to hear how you dealt with this yesterday when you were trading futures. But one of the big headlines we got yesterday was about Microsoft cutting their sales quotas for AI products. Yep. They came out and defended and said we didn't do that. The information is wrong. The market sold off on that and then grinded up the rest of the day. So I would say with the backdrop of the stock Microsoft, what do you see here in the chart? But what did you do yesterday when that move took place?
Nothing. And it was important to recognize. And when you see something like that happening, let's go back to the futures. First of all, let's get to a 5-minute chart of Microsoft and get exactly what time that was yesterday, right? Let's take a look. Here it was. There it was. Okay. So this came out very early in the morning, right? It was 9 o'clock that it came out. And we went from 489 down to 475. So if we look at the ESs at that same time from yesterday, the S&P 500 futures, right? Let's go back and look at that from yesterday. We had the same move, basically, is what we're talking about. We had that same exact move down. And when I see something like that happening very fast, my instinct as a trader is get out of the way. Guys, there's news coming out. There's something happening right now. You take all your technicals and throw them out the window when you see something like that. So when we saw that happening, I'm just on the sidelines. What we'll do is we'll look for that far from moving average trade, which did set up in Microsoft when that actually happened. But it still ended up closing down on the day, right?
Yeah. And actually, the interesting note about that is while the market grinded back up towards the highs and closed green, Microsoft actually bounced a little bit and then rolled over and closed near some of the lows. So it definitely seems like there was still some trepidation in that name.
Exactly. And how again, how how irresponsible is it for that to have come out, and then them to come out and say, "Oh no, we that's not true in any way, shape, or form." I mean, when those things happen, you kind of just got to stay out of the way. That's
Okay.
how we handle something like that.
Okay, that's good. I too did not trade Microsoft yesterday. I was watching that. I did kind of trade a little bit when the market started to rebound, but I think that's get out of the way. One of our viewers here says nothing is the right answer, David. So it looks like we hit that one.
Agreed.
Right on the head there. Okay.
Stop time.
Yep. Let me just do some of these movers. I'm thinking 10 or 15 minutes. We'll bring 13 on here, and then we'll come right back. Hopefully we get a trade. Hopefully something happens in these futures markets, and we can get something to set up here.
Well, gold's moving a little bit. Maybe we'll get a trade in that. But
okay.
All yours, Rye.
All right. We'll see here. Let me go ahead, and I think I got to turn my screen share back on. There we go. All right. Let me take this. All right, David, we'll be right back here just a couple of minutes. I'll actually leave David's screen up there in case something happens. You guys will be able to react to that. Let's bring on 13 here this morning. 13, good morning. How are you doing, boss?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm gotta say, I'm sorry. I got too distracted by what was happening with Polyhorizon. This is the company that was moving earlier this week.
Yep.
On the nasal spray, kind of being a revolutionary thing of reducing potential, allergens and things that you can contract by through your nose. So this is still moving up 131% right now. We did have a higher print earlier this morning and yesterday. Yesterday it went up to 2160 before it backed off. This morning it went up to 2120 before it backed off. But this time when it backed off, it ended up losing VWAP and a couple of EMAs on its way down to where it finally got support just shy of $14. So now it's trying to turn back up. I was mentioning it in the chat there about how one of the areas it was trying to recapture was the VWAP and 16. So far, that happened. It actually took us all the way up to $17 and looks like 49 cents it went to. So a nice move in an attempt to recapture 17. Couldn't hold up, ended up coming back down to VWAP. So we're just kind of hanging out around VWAP right now, hoping, and it's not a strategy, by the way, hoping that this finds its footing so that it can set up and we can try and trade this again. But that's it's kind of moving just basically on the same news. There had some PR that came out, but it's more or less about the same thing that we had already talked about earlier this week.
Yeah, I took a look here. First of all, yesterday I didn't really see anything in terms of new news in the after hours that would have explain the surge. We did get another PR here today, but it almost felt rehashed. Meta's moving. Is that what you're getting ready to say?
No. The news from yesterday was it was after the market had closed. There was they had a Form 6 that they released, and they also announced superior results for intranasal Naxolone hydrogel. So I think that's what got it going, and then we're getting the after effect from that as well.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because the Form 6 was about the PR that we got in the morning. Those were about the same thing. So it's just odd. Maybe it was algo induced. Obviously, the after hours and the pre-market can be the Wild West there. But nonetheless, with this here, we have a move back up towards the VWAP. We can't get above that VWAP. Something might change if we are able to get above that VWAP. Really quickly, a reminder here on the short interest, 2.32% of this stock's float is shorted. 1 day to cover, average 100-day volume, 2.6 million. It's done 8.1 today. Float is still $1 million on this. So Polyhorizon, it's okay. That's one of our biggest movers here today, 13. I'm sure we're going to be looking at this several times here today.
Do you want to jump over to Meta real quick?
Yeah, I definitely do, because this is spiking here on news. And I know with the movers, we normally talk about some of these smaller stocks, but big power candle here in Meta. Meta shares are trading higher after reports indicating CEO Mark Zuckerberg plans deep cuts to the company's metaverse efforts. Now, I lost my keys in the metaverse a couple of months ago, and I no word if I'm going to be able to get those back. If they shut it down, those might just be a lost cause there. In any case, Meta popping here on this. We are up 5.3%, almost 34 total points. Looks like we're going towards 675. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. That actually brings us up to our 65 EMA on the daily. God, it's amazing how this works. And guess what, folks? This sets up a potential gap trade. We break above this. I've got this at the top of this body here, 675, we'll call it. Looks like that doesn't fill up to 750. So a huge gap above See if and actually this might change things for the markets here. So that's David's got to be frustrated. As soon as we move over to the movers, he starts to get some movement. I can't wait to get an update from that. So let's roll through this list here.
And
do you have any thoughts on Meta?
Okay, so two things. One, it's on the technical side, we're coming up to the 200-day and 50-day SMAs. This could invalidate or prevent, let's say, potential death cross, or at least make it less severe. Kind of like the last one we had earlier this year in May. Where it only lasted, let's see, from May to the middle of June, so not very long. But this one may also avert that as well. Now, on the fundamental side, this is going to be a massive cut to their capex, so that's likely the reason we're seeing it go up, because it's not going to be money in the company. But that also kind of makes me wonder, well, what is happening with the metaverse? Because this used to be a massive thing with Meta, and they kept touting it and saying this is going to be the next big deal, and this and that. And now they're talking about cutting this. So I don't know what that means for Meta and their plans going forward, or if this is a total loss for them, the metaverse. But we need to read through this, so we'll get some more information that way. But if you want to go back to the movers, so we can move through this real quick, go for it. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see what was going on here. I wonder if there's any more. Day traders asking the right questions here. Can someone define the metaverse? Seems like a made-up computer world.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully that helps.
It is.
Are they reducing data center spending? I don't have any indication that that's the case. I don't think you need to spend on. What 13 is saying is that their overall capex spend for the company. Now they're not sending resources to the metaverse. They're probably focusing on the data center and AI build out instead. That's what I would gather from this, but you are asking the right question. Don't have a PR here for you. If we get any more information on that,
maybe they need to buy more. They probably need to buy more AMD or NVIDIA chips. I don't know. It could be something like that.
They should just announce another $600 billion partnership with all those companies, and we can really just delete all this.
Yeah, let's start that cycle up, spin it
all
up.
Right. All joking aside, that's what's going on with Meta. We covered Polyryzen already. Kala Bio here is the next one on the list. That's KALA. We've traded this one here before. 13, you might even have levels from some of the past times, not to put you on the spot or anything. Very clear trend line as per usual here on some of these movers. That gives us a target. If we're able to move back through the VWAP to the upside, we'll see if we are able to do that here. As far as Kala news goes, I don't have anything here. It looks like we had a Form 3 in the after hours. So was this a purchase?
Let's see. Who's the name on that?
Oxford Finance.
Okay, I was just looking to see if this was more about David Lazar, because this is the one that David Lazar took.
That's right.
The position, and remember he was formerly with the company. I can't remember the name of it, but it was NBY. Remember that he took a big stake in this, ended up becoming CEO, and then this stock ran for a little while, and then he resigned, and now this is apparently the next one that he's going to be doing. So maybe there's some more upside in the future with Kala. Seems to be what Mike Lazard is doing best, apparently. But yeah, to your point about the trend lines, you have that one on top there from the after hours yesterday, and the pre-market here that goes up to 156. You could also probably draw some on the underside too, but I think we'll just let the EMAs provide us the support for that right now. And if you look at the 65 EMA earlier this morning, we already had that provide support. After that first initial pop and then the decline, we've rebounded and since come up to 156 to make that current pre-market high. Now it's back down, getting support from VWAP. So if it gets support here, we'll look to see if we can continue that trend line and print higher than 156. But it'll probably be closer to the open when we get that.
Okay, and then really quickly here, short interest, check. 12.35% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover, average 100-day volume, 4.5 million. Today we're 52.5 million plus. Float of 6.82 million. So we'll see if we get some movement here in Kala. Okay, next on the list here, I have PMI, Picard Medical. This spiked earlier. This actually gives us a pretty clear trend line as well, doesn't it, 13? How about that? Looks like we moved sideways through it. We'll see if that gives us anything there. Let me take a look here at the news tab and go through this here. Picard Form 8 here. This came, so after hours yesterday, I beg your pardon. They're going to present at CSI Focus in 2025 in Frankfurt, Germany. That's the day after tomorrow. So that's going to be Saturday in the Red Room. for anyone that's going there. Anyway, they're going to present here. Stock is popping by 24% here today. The CEO is going to be the one to present. Sorry, I think I left that out. Quick peek at the short interest here. 1.23% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Average 100-day volume of 2 million. We've done just shy of 12 here today. Float on this one a little bit thicker, though, 65.7. You got any thoughts here on PMI?
Well, it looks like they also unveiled some promising artificial heart data, according to the headline here. So I think in that Form 8 that's just beneath it, there's more details about that. And when we were presenting at the total, the Emperor, hold on a second, mutual data on the Emperor Total Heart on the 31st annual meeting of the International Society for Mechanical Circulatory Support in Vienna, Austria. So that's from today. I think that's just adding to this movement here. Unfortunately, if you look at the chart, we're still having a hard time getting above and holding above VWAP. That's kind of been the case since we had this massive pop in the morning here that took us up to 356. That we went right back beneath VWAP after that. Second attempt at 520 met with resistance again around about 290, back under VWAP. Third attempt 630, back under VWAP. So 3 times we've tried to get above VWAP to no avail, or didn't really hold above there for that long. But we are still getting some support from the 65 EMA. So that's kind of sending the price action a little bit sideways into the open here. The thing that I would like to see, and I'm not sure if we will, but it's starting to trade up back up towards VWAP. So if volume begins to expand again, we're going to be watching for another potential breakthrough this VWAP here. But just keep in mind, as we've seen for the already in this pre-market here, 3 times it went above VWAP, did a little bit of a run, then came right back in. I don't know if we're going to break that cycle just yet. So just keep that in mind if you're going to trade this.
You know what they say in baseball, right, 13? 3 strikes and you're out, baby. 3 strikes and you're out. Okay, good breakdown there. PMI, that's Picard Medical. Sweet name, by the way. I did want to mention here, QCLS. I am going to go to the other one here because I've only got one more. Then we're going to go back to David here. QCLS. This was one of the big movers from yesterday. We did end up breaking above the intraday high. Oh, actually, I beg your pardon. Yeah, we did. We broke above the intraday high earlier in the pre-market. Looks like we're making another run at that. Let me check to see if there was anything fresh here today. Oh, okay. Buckle up, folks. Martin Shkreli takes a position in QCLS, leveraging Microsoft's optical computing roadmap for a bull case. Quote, 100 is my near-term target, end quote. Now, take that with a grain of salt. That does not mean that it's going to 100, but that's seems to be what's popping this here. We got that news pretty early in the morning. Quick peek at the short interest on this, just to remind you, 36.27% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Average 100-day volume, 2 million shares. Today we've done 2.5 times that. Float here, 3.82. What do you think on QCLS?
So this is the one that I basically, interrupted you and said, get ready for this one because it's got a setup here going into the open, and it had a nice move up through $5. And then even after we came back down and lost some support levels, I still wanted folks to keep an eye on this throughout the rest of the day because this one did end up coming back up over 5 just a little bit. And now here we are still above 5. And we had a breakout through that $5 resistance level. That is a big area of resistance as we outlined yesterday. So if this is going to hold up here, we're going to want to see that $5 level act as support now. We are trading over the VWAP at the moment, but I don't like the series of upper shadows that it put in just recently. So I'm not sure if this is going to continue higher up to the 6 handle where the next area of resistance is, or if it's going to come back down and actually test 5 again. So I would wait to see what we end up getting here out of the open.
Okay. Next one that I have here is C-Bio. This is Crescent Biopharma. They did have a news catalyst here today that popped them above 22, although we've come all the way back into the 15 handle and in the process losing the VWAP. Crescent Biopharma shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Sichuan Kelun Biotech Biopharmaceutical. The company secured a $185 million private placement. That's what's driving the stock here. You can see a big pop. We're basically trading sideways. I'd be watching for maybe a move back to and through the VWAP. If we get it, maybe it sets up here. Looks like I don't have a float reading and haven't had an accurate one since 2023. There is about 500,000 plus shares held short here, but without a float reading, I cannot estimate the percent of float short. 5.6 days to cover. So it does look there's some pretty significant short interest here. On average, stock trades 100,000 shares. Today it's traded 1.28 million. 13, do you have any thoughts on this? While you give those, I'll check know the float and see if I can get a float figure here for this.
Yeah, so 185 million private placement. I don't really know that it needed to raise that kind of cash just based on the cash position it already has, but maybe there's some upcoming spend that they're anticipating that they need the capital for. So not really sure if what's that about. But the thing that's concerning with me is that we haven't really traded a lot of shares in this pre-market session compared to some of these other names we're looking at. 1.2, almost 1.3 million shares. I don't think that's quite enough for me to get too excited about this. So I would want to see an expansion of volume here. And as it happens, we are still beneath VWAP after the first 15 minutes that this got the news. It popped above it up to 21.96, came back in, hasn't been able to recapture VWAP since, but we are trading back up towards it. I have VWAP at 16.16. So that's going to be the next near-term resistance. If we do get that volume expansion, I'd be looking for a break through that. But I just don't know if we will. Just keep an eye on that volume.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, 13, really good breakdown. We'll bring you back on after Futures Forward concludes. Good luck on your trading. And remember, folks, even though you don't see 13's beautiful face on the stream, he is in the chat trading, giving his insight. So don't worry about that. 13, we'll see you in a little bit.
Take care.
All right, that is 13. Now let's bring back on David. David, look, I'm sorry. Apparently, all we needed to do was send you to the back for a minute, and then all of a sudden the action happens. What's going on? Break it down for us.
It's all meta. News came out in Meta. It's raising all ships with it. Hold on one sec. All right, here we go. If we look at Meta, I think they poached someone from Apple or something. I don't know what the heck exactly happened, but
I can tell you, they are shutting down.
Because we're up 30 points.
They're shutting down their metaverse for the most part. So I'll read you the exact language here. Meta shares are trading higher after reports indicate CEO Zuckerberg plans deep cuts to the company's metaverse efforts. Let me ask you a side question. How much time have you spent in the metaverse?
None. 0.0.
Kind of guessed that. Yeah.
I'm too old.
I feel like I am too, by the way. So I wouldn't feel too bad about that. Anyway, looks like the cuts here. 13 was just making the point. This is going to be less total CapEx spending without cutting into the data center and AI spending. So market is rewarding that by sending the stock higher. That's bringing the SPY higher.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to get our opening range breakout set up. This is one of the trades we look for. Starting at 9:30 till 9:35, you'll see a little box form in all of our futures and stocks. We look for a breakout above or a breakout below. So here's what happened in the S&P 500 futures, right? We spiked up 17 points. Almost had an 80 RSI up there. Almost had the far from moving average trade, but didn't quite get there. We have an order up at 86. That is up 10 points from here. That is our pivot point. That would probably give us a far from moving average trade also. On the buy side for the opening, we're going to take it easy. See how much of this rally that we hold. Let's see where we were. Our 200 EMA is down at 64. So let's put that out in the ESs. That would be down 16 points from the high. So we'll put a little thing out there. Maybe we set up for a trend trade for the rest of the day. I don't know. So that is 68.64. We'll put a little order out. So here we are sitting doing absolutely nothing. And boom, you get this huge volatility. So we had a little order up in gold at this 35 level, went a little bit above it, and it paid a couple of points. Now we're kind of just going sideways here. So gold, we have a short up in our pivot point, also up 10 points from here at 42.44. So let's put our little order in gold. It's up 10 points from here, 42.44.
David, really quick, sorry to interrupt. I'm going to step away for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Go,
All right,
go,
boss?
go.
BRB.
Good. Take your time. So what we're looking for, guys and girls, okay, is at least a 10-point move in gold to set us up for what we call a regular moving average trade. And scale has 42.24. So if we go down to our 30 EMA and our 65 EMA, we have support right around that 42.25 level. So we'll put out a tiny order at 42.24. That would be support on two different two different moving averages that we have. We always take it easy on the opening, guys and girls. Okay, always. Couple of contracts, one contract, nice and small. Let's check our ESs again, guys. By the way, guys and girls, if you are not trading futures yet, 64. So let's cancel that 52. That's good. It is something you should be seriously considering. Okay, because we can open up futures accounts with as little as $17 or $37 when Apex has a nice sale on the futures, and got to go through a few steps to get it rolling. But it is a way to take money from these people without a big investment. We do not have to have $25,000 in an account. We have a total investment of a couple of $100 to get to the point where we start taking money from them. If we have time later, I'll show you my account. I have a couple of accounts that I've had for 60, 70 days trading with Apex. So it is a way to get into trading. It doesn't cost you a lot of money at all. What I'm going to do, guys and girls, before we get out of here today, because I can do it for next week, okay? Anyone who is interested, I'll give you guys my email before we get out of here. We'll give away some accounts before we get out of here. And anyone who wants, who's watching us here, can come and hang out with us in the trading room starting today if you want, today, tomorrow, and next week. So pop up some ones if anybody's interested in doing that. I'll give you my email. You come watch us trade the markets live in real time for 7 days, starting as soon as we finish here.
Let me see if I still have that. Producer, do we still have those emails in one of those things we can pop on the screen to help David out with that?
Oh, yeah, that's the dgreen927@yahoo.com. dgreen927@yahoo.com. And guys, that doesn't cost anything. Just come, hang out with us, watch us trade live for 7 days. You'll know not everything, but you'll know how to open up a futures account and get started trading futures. So 8 minutes to the opening. Let's go over our orders. We're up 10 points on the short. We're down 12 points on the long. Let's check out gold.
You also have some more news about Netflix if you wanted to look at an individual
I can take
name.
a look.
Netflix leading bidder for Paramount or for Warner Brothers Discovery.
Morning, Vish. Gold, we have a little order up, which would be up at 12 points from here. Now, we're going to keep an eye on these orders as we get closer to the opening. And if something takes too long to get there, we back off. If it doesn't move fast enough to one of our levels, we back off, because I always like to just take it easy on the opening. The last thing we want to do is start out our day by being in a bag in something. And I'd rather miss the opening and miss trades than get caught in something. Really what we've been concentrating on a lot. And what was that, Netflix, Ryan? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Netflix is the leading bidder for Warner Brothers Discovery, would be 85% cash deal. The rest would be stock. That's got Netflix moving. That's got Warner Brothers Discovery moving.
Yeah, I mean, you would think
moving.
Netflix would come in a little bit out of that. Yeah. It's a huge outlay of money. I
think we're still waiting for a test of the round 100 number too. So and we're not far from that. So that might be a decent area for it to go.
Let's look for the daily chart. Yeah, I mean, this is pulling back only because of that. So our 5 minute, we got some support around 101, actually 102, and then 101. So if we spike down to the 101 area, that is a little pivot point down there, close enough to your 100 to see if we get anything out of that.
Death cross coming tomorrow on the chart.
Okay. All right. We're hanging. Gold's moving again. We'll see if we can spike up to that 44 level in short order. Otherwise, we'll cancel that. We got our previous week close all the way up at 56. So, again, guys and girls, we got 5 minutes to the opening. Everybody just relax. Take it easy. I'm just going to run to the boys' room real quick, Rye.
That's perfect because we're going to get an update from
There
Peter.
We go. Oh, beautiful. Perfect.
Could not be better timing this time, Peter. And he's got a new fluffy scarf on. This guy.
Got to keep my head on somehow. I'm so excited that, listen, the timing couldn't be better because you just asked us that question that was out before. When is bad news bad?
Yeah.
We just had an example of when good news is good, right? Which is that you saw the market just spike up, and that was as a result of news that just came out that they were looking for 191,000 jobs lost. It turned out it was only 27,000 less Okay, so there was, and then the also report came in that shows that there was the lowest in 3 years for people requesting unemployment. So that's a great number. And then that other number that was readjusted showed a report came out that employers are holding on to their employees longest it's been in 3 years. So this is an example where normally you would say, as per our conversation before, if good economic news comes out, that means that the Fed is less likely to cut and then the market will react negatively. Well, which is normally what's been happening for the last few days. This was an example where actually good economic news was responding because we saw the market spike. I'm sure you guys were watching.
Oh, yeah.
That was as a result of good economic news. So now we just saw an example of good news being good, which doesn't happen that often when you're in the middle of this interest rate cutting cycle. So that's wonderful. That kind of means that we're putting that other information on the shelf for a minute, right? Because we're fairly clear that we are going to get a cut. Now people are positive about when the economy net is good, it's also good for the markets as well. So it's a funny paradox. Economics is crazy, especially when you're in the middle of an economic of an interest rate cutting cycle. People should also know historically that once you commence an interest rate cutting cycle, it normally lasts for 6 months, and year over year historically, that every time this has happened, 89% of the time, the market in the following year has been up as much as 16%. So just a little tidbit of
that's awesome.
And so that kind of, that's all we're setting the stage for a strong positive market. We're setting the stage now with a very dovish, and I didn't even understand doves versus hawks and all that the other day, but a dovish Fed chair is someone who's more likely for quantitative easing. So somebody who is going to be cutting rates more aggressively. And so, it's Mr. Trump's going to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. He obviously has an agenda here, right? But bottom line is to get out of the madness of COVID, we raised interest rates 18 consecutive times, and we had to do that. We had to take money out of the money supply, right? Because look, what did we do during COVID? We printed $3 trillion in order to backstop what we were going through at COVID, right? Otherwise, the whole nation would have been on breadline. So that's what we did. During the crash of 2008, we put $800 billion into the market over 18 months. It took 8.5 years to get back to even. The Fed learned their lesson. This time, when we had the COVID disaster and that crash, we put $3 trillion into the market over 3 months. And as you'll remember very quickly, COVID was March 15, 2020. By August 12th of 2020, we were back to even. And we were up 20% for that year and up 21% for the following year, which is unheard of in the midst of all that madness. We raised interest rates 18 consecutive times to go from 0 to 5.5, and now we're trying to come off that 5.5 level. But it's got to be done in an orderly fashion, because the economic mechanism is a crazy thing. So you can't just do it when you want to do it. It's got to be done with all the other components working. So as I described the stagflation story, which is real, it's not something I knew before, but I had to investigate it because for a while there, if you remember, mainstream media kept talking about stagflation, right? Or recession and all those crazy words. At the end of the day, that's something that's a hard thing to break out of. The last time U.S. economy was in stagflation, it took a while to get out of that, and there was a lot of pain and suffering around it. So we're trying, obviously, the Fed and the Prez and everyone else is trying to prevent that, because we want to grow out of this, right? With so much going into tech, we know that Oracle and Microsoft and all these companies that are not even in the AI sector have each committed $600 billion into building data centers down 5 years away. That's huge. $12 trillion on the sidelines with NVIDIA, CapEx going into AI. So anybody who's talking the mainstream media catastrophist story about that AI is a bubble, I don't know what they're smoking, but they should put down the bong pipe, because that's madness.
Or at least share it. Am I right, boss? And by the way, so Peter coming in hot with the stats. Not even a cold shower can cool Peter off. That might be my favorite comment of the day. Peter, the other thing about the jobs data that you were telling us about, that coincided with a piece of news on Meta, which said that they were going to plan deep cuts to the metaverse, which is going to reduce their CapEx spending while still spending it on AI. The market is rewarding Meta for that here. That happened at the same time as this jobless claim data sent the market higher here. Okay.
I'll tell you one thing which is interesting, because a lot of people were feeling one of the reasons the market sort of fell off a lot in November was a lot of shareholders felt that why are these companies like Google, like Microsoft, like Oracle, who are not necessarily in the AI space, are committing so much money, right? And it's going to start affecting earnings. They're taking on debt, right? And so shareholders are going, why is Meta doing that? The bottom line is these guys, the head of Oracle, the head of Meta, these people are visionaries in a huge way. And if in 5 years, AI is going to be where it's supposed to be and it's trading at 10x, if he had not done by committing money now to it, all those shareholders would be really angry going, well, why didn't you put the money into AI? And the bottom line is he did, and it's going to pay off. And that's the bottom line.
Okay. That's the bottom line, right as the bell. Peter, your timing today is something to marvel at, okay? I just got to say, really good updates. Peter, appreciate it. I'm going to bring David back on. Take care of yourself. Stay warm, all right, buddy? Don't lose that head.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Peter, I love it, Jane. Your absolute favorite guest. Absolute fave, Peter. I absolutely love it. Okay, let's see if David is back. Boy, the thing's updating and I can't click on the right thing. There's David.
Here.
He's back. He's ready to go. Here's the screen. What do we got?
Well, we're hanging out. So you can see our 5-minute orb starting to form. We're going to watch that to see if we get a breakout or break above for a buy, break below for a short. After 5 minutes have gone by, we have some orders out right now. ES we have down on our 200 EMA. If we can spike all the way down there, that would be a 15-point move. So that's what we're watching in the S&P 500 futures. Gold, same thing. We got a little short up at 42, 44. If we spike up 7 points, we have a bid down on our 65 EMA. And we're just hanging out. See if we get any decent kind of movement from here off the opening.
Meta pulled back right off the open. 665 looks like where it's sitting here, but an immediate pullback. QCLS, our big mover that was moving on the Martin Shkreli purchase, that popped out of the open. That's come back into VWAP as well. No trades there. Also, ticker DG, David Green's namesake. Actually, it's Dollar General. That's popping out of the open here. That reported earnings before the bell and is up higher. So giddy up on ticker DG.
Meta 663 is a little support level. We just hit that and bounced $2.50. That was our trend line. So check that out, guys and girls. We pulled exactly back to the 9 EMA initially. After going down 23 points, we exactly stopped on a 9 EMA for a $2.50 trade. Below that, if we break, we got our 30 EMA at around, 655, which I would be all over if we pulled back to the 655 level.
Okay, well, we're only 8 points away from that, so we'll see if we end up getting that. PLRZ, by the way, another one of our movers going through the VWAP here on volume. UiPath, which reported earnings here, that's actually trading on some pretty good volume right now as well. That to the upside, looking like it's trying to take out the top end of the pre-market range there.
All right, futures, we're sitting. Now we got our 5-minute orb forming. We're looking 3 minutes. So again, what we're looking for is a break below the bottom of the orb for a short or a break above the top of the orb for a buy. We still have our orders out, below, but we're kind of just sitting in a little range here. Gold is spiking up a little bit. So I don't like the 44 short anymore now, guys and girls, because it's not moving enough to get there. Next level we really have short in gold is up at 56. This could be a better buy if we break above the orb here. So we're hanging out in gold, not doing anything, no orders.
Path continuing to go. Looks like this is on a path, if you will, towards 1715, which was your impulse high from yesterday. We'll see if we get a back test of the 1640 pre-market range.
All right, gold, guys and girls. The 44 just hit and pulled back a couple of points, if anybody left it out there. Okay. So if we look at gold, guys, we hit the top of the orb. We hit our pivot point at 44, and it just gave a 3-point pullback from there. So I don't know if anybody left that out. Now we'll watch and see if we can break the top of the orb. ESs are doing absolutely nothing. So in 2 minutes, guys, we're going to watch now for a break at the top of the orb for a long in gold, break for the bottom of the orb for a short in gold. Let's keep our eyes on it.
Meta 670 calls getting bought here, 1,600 of them into this down move. More meta call sweeps.
ES is a spiking down here, guys and girls. We are bidding 64, which we just got hit at. Let's see what happens from here. Take some profits at 65 if we spike up. Otherwise, we just chill out for a couple of minutes, relax.
Path came back into that 1642 area and immediately bounced, and damn, I could not get that fast enough. My order was actually still sitting out there. Real quick, this is what I was looking at here. Watching Path here, was watching for it to retest.
Keep everything
this
small
range.
for the opening, guys and girls.
Was waiting for Path to retest the top end of this range. It did that right at 1640. Could not get filled. Another bounce here. I'm going to cancel that and wait and see if we get another setup here on Path. David, let me go back to your chart for you.
All good, all good, all good.
PLRZ still above its VWAP. This actually looks like it might be trying to take out 18
All right,
here.
guys. That's why we're staying small in the MESs. Go ahead. You're good. Yeah, baby.
Financial
Sold
strong
one at
again
65, guys. Sell a little at 66 here. And the S's. Sold at 66. MES. Beautiful. Okay, we're out of the MESs. Got a couple of points off that. Perfect, guys and girls. Very nice. All right. So had a couple of nice trades early this morning already. All right, let's take a chill pill. So in the ESs, guys, we got long at 64. You can see on my chart. Okay. Just took 3 points out of it. Let's see what gold is doing now.
Man, Path continuing higher here. Path, what a bounce. I'm actually upset that my order got left there. The thing ran away from me. Damn, that was a really good setup, a really good back test of the opening range there. Couldn't get filled on that, but that trade's working. Let's see if Meta's starting to bounce. There we go. Meta's starting to bounce. Looks like it bounced off 663. That's the 15 EMA on the 5. Meta's starting to print higher here off of that area. We'll see if it crosses the VWAP. I've got that at 670. David, we never got to your buy spot on Meta.
No, but we did bounce right off the bottom of the orb if you look at that. Okay?
Yep.
And that was the 30 EMA. So we bounced off the bottom of the orb, hit the 30 EMA, and that gave a nice little bounce right there. ESs, guys and girls. If you were trailing any ESs, it just gave you a 10-point trade.
Tesla, big reversal. Tesla call sweeps going wild right now. Path continuing higher. You're going to get a 17 break here. Damn it, Ryan. Why didn't you get filled on that? That was perfect. There will always be another trade. Simmer down. No FOMO.
Guys, we will short the top of the orb in the ESs now at 76. If we go in that direction, let's pop that out. Top of the orb, short 76.
Yeah, Jay, great call on Path. You'll get a one-up for that. Lion, register ring on your calls there on Path. Really good stuff, guys. At least some of you folks hit that. Path ripping here out of the gate, up 13, almost 14%.
Been around the world. Yeah. We missed the gold Momo. What happened? We get an orb break in gold. Let's see. Yeah, we broke the bottom of the orb in gold at 35, and it paid a quick 2-3 points. Yes. We like the buy side in gold at 26. If we spike down to that level, it's all good. So in the ESs, guys, it only went 3 points against us and gave a beautiful trade off of that. So everybody take a chill pill now. We're starting out the morning in a nice green fashion. Yeah, gold just paid on the bottom of the orb for a couple of banana skins, but not much. Just hanging.
I'm still blown away that you were just singing the Puff Daddy song, Been Around the World. That is not something that I had on my bingo card at all. C-Bio here, you're saying this is all the way back to the start, that retraced its entire move? Boy, we told you in the pre-market, oh my God. We told you in the pre-market that thing was weak, made really no attempts to get back above the VWAP there. Here we go, complete round trip on the back of that news. Yikes.
Yeah, the true range is the high to the low, guys and girls. And right now we're just calmed in the middle of everything, but we will short the top of the orb there. Let's put that out there at 76 in the MESs. 68.76.
USAR, this is moving straight up out of the gate. I think we had news on this morning. Yeah, U.S. rare earth subsidiary LCM partners around with Arnold Magnetic Technologies to secure rare earth metal supply. Didn't really react to that news in the pre-market, but it is definitely trading higher here out of the open. That's USAR.
Bitcoin, guys and girls, doing nothing. Tested the bottom of the orb, but not doing much.
That's been dead today.
NQs, guys, check that out. Check out this bounce off the bottom of the orb in the NQs. Just went up 50 points, guys and girls. 50 points off the bottom of the orb. Very nice bounce. All right, now in like a couple of minutes, Ryan, we're going to switch to our 15-minute orb.
Okay.
We still like gold, guys.
Can you explain that, David? Can you explain why you switch? I don't know if we've done that before.
Yeah, at 9:45, we'll switch to the 15-minute orb, and we'll leave that up for the rest of the day. Probably not going to be a big difference in the movement, but we do the 9:30 breakout at 9:35, and then another breakout at 9:45 if it sets up.
Okay, so you use the 5-minute orb until the first 15-minute candle is drawn, and then you switch over to the 15. Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, it's not going to be a huge difference, but the 15-minute will leave up all day, and the 15-minute can set up at any point during the rest of the day. Look at the ESs, guys and girls, just ripping up now. So now, Ryan, we're looking to short it if we get up to the top of the orb there at 76. So we're hanging at 70. I mean, just a...
Cam says, morning, I missed my daily dose of Peter. Cam, I'm sorry to hear that. You ought to go back and rewind then, boss, because Peter was popping today, and his timing was something like I've never seen before. So
Peter was, that was absolutely, that's the best timing we've ever had.
No, that was I'll take that anytime, David.
Not even close. That was the best we've ever had. So I can tell you when we have, a nice trade to start our morning, it puts us in just relax mode. Take it easy. See if anything else sets up. We don't have to run into anything anymore. A couple of people hit their goal just on that one trade that we had today. I mean, look at it this way, right? If you're trading the ESs, okay, and you bought the 62 when it happened, one contract is $50 per point. So it went up 10 points, okay? So that's $500 on one contract. Again, most of us are trading 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts. So, some people who caught that trade made, between $700 and $1,000 in the first 2 minutes of the day. And when you're trading futures, guys and girls, keep in mind there is no risk to our own money. So you can be a little more aggressive when this stuff happens. Gold, let's take a look at gold.
Google rejected at 323, that making day lows here. See if it holds yesterday's intraday low down at 314.
All right, gold. Let's go to 25.10, and we want it on this pop down if we get. Oh, too late. Take some profits in gold, guys. So we got hit in gold at 26. It just bounced over $1 from there at 27. I was going to say let's lower to 25.10, but we got a nice bounce already.
Meta on its bounce could not reclaim the VWAP at 669.5. That's still staying inside the bounce candle on the 5.
All right, we got a point out of gold so far. Let's see if we can try to get 2 points out of it, up to 28. Keep a tight stop on the downside now.
Yeah, Calla is trying to push up here. Real quick, this is what I got here on Calla. We have the trend line. Trend line here, 159, if it gets there. Market's still figuring out which direction it wants to go here today.
Yeah, we're just chilling.
Not going to participate in the chop, huh, David?
No, we're relaxing now. We got a point out of gold and then out for a point loss, so we're just chilling out.
David, question here from one of the viewers. Does your orb strategy work for SPY?
Yes, it works for anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tesla
can
day
check it out
highs
too.
now.
Let's
Boy,
check our orbs, guys. Let's change it now. Studies, edit studies. So you'll see me change the orb to the 15-minute now. Yeah, but you can apply this to any stock, guys and girls. 15-minute. Okay. Apply. Okay. Now you're just going to see a little bigger range. Been around the world and yeah, baby. All right, gold worked out, guys and girls, from that level. Certainly another winning trade. Small.
Archer trying to bounce from its VWAP right here. Path really struggled with 17. Looks like it's battling it again here. We'll see what happens at 17 a second time around. Pulled off that spot on the first test. We might go through it this time.
ES. Double top 68.54. You mean a double bottom, Jazz? Wow, look at gold, guys. Got that beautiful rally off that level. And again, certainly wasn't a stop out at all. From our 25, it only went 2 points below. So another good trade in gold. And we're chilling out again now. All right. Let's regroup. Look at our ESs.
Man, Tesla's still at the highs. Micron a little bit weak. Let me check in on SanDisk as well. And we talked about that trade yesterday. Oh my gosh.
Now, big rally in gold, guys and girls. All right, let's look at gold now. What do we like, guys? Let's take a peek. Yeah, we're sitting in the middle of everything. So we're not going to buy the orb breakout if it gets to 44. We're going to short the top of the orb now. So let's put that out at 42.44. Gold if we spike back up to that level.
David, what's the name of the study on Thinkorswim there? Born, are you talking about the ones that give the values at the top? Specify what study you're asking about.
Yeah. This is a custom code that we built into our charts. I have an expert coder in my room, Scotty. So this is a custom code that we built into our charts. Everything that you see up here are all custom codes that we built into our charts. What's beautiful about this is that, and this is Thinkorswim that everybody's looking at. What's beautiful about this is at wsgta.com, anyone who wants to buy any of our courses, it's one button to set up your charts to get exactly like this with all this information in one chart. One single button to get it all set up. But specific question about the orb strategy, it's something that we have built in to our charts. All right, ESs are coming down a bit now. Let's see where we want to be. All right, ES just broke the bottom of the orb, guys and girls. Okay. All right, so let's see. So we're looking at ESs now. We are coming down from 63. Our pivot point is at 52. So let's put that out. We certainly like that.
BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin. FYI, Bitcoin holding it in about just under 93K.
All right, let's see if we can spike down to our pivot point in the ES is fast. The market's coming in pretty good here now, guys and girls.
Nice job on that path trade, Jay. That was really good stuff. You were the first on that one.
Get the 52 out. Good. This popped down. We'll take a look. Everything that we're looking at, guys and girls, we want it to hit our levels as quickly as possible. So let's see if we can get a spike down. Cancel
ELRZ series of lower highs. Still holding above the VWAP. Path trying to hold above 17 now. It did break through that on the second attempt. But that was a good setup out of the open on Path.
Jazz, we just missed your 54. Got the
H&H Tactical hitting all the goals in 18 minutes. Well done, ma'am. Well done. Registering for that, actually.
Meta's breaking the bottom of the orb. Next thing we got is our 30 EMA down at that 657 level, guys. So if anyone's trading stocks, look at Meta around 650, 660. If we go in that direction, Bitcoin's not doing anything. Got 2 points out of the break of the orb on the downside. There you go. So again, Ryan, another setup that we look for. Tested the bottom of the orb. We broke the bottom of the orb at 68.60, and it just paid, 2, 3, 4 points, a couple $100 if you were doing the 945 orb breakout now. And this is something we'll leave up for the whole day, guys and girls. So top of the orb is resistance. Bottom of the orb could be a break, and it just broke on the downside. Here's our next support level, our pivot point. Maybe we're setting up for a trend trade now. A little early for that, and only a 6-point move up. Gold sitting in the middle of nowhere. We have our short at the top of the orb.
Meta coming into that 660 level we just talked about.
Let's take a look. Yeah, hanging out. Again, I like around 657 if we break these levels here. That is our 30 EMA.
One sec, David. Got to handle something.
Yeah, all good. All right, trading room. Where's everybody sitting this morning? Talk to me, gooses. Is anyone in, everybody should be good. Trading room, right? Yes. How are you read, Anthony? We didn't get stopped out of anything, and we had a couple of good trades. How are you read? Anybody else? Talk to me, goosies. Everybody who traded what we traded should be having a decent morning already. Yeah, but be honest. Tell us what's wrong so we can help you. Yeah, we had 2 good trades. Benzinga, I hope if you're following us, hope you guys maybe got a couple of good trades from us. Put up a couple of ones if you did. Again, write this down, Benzinga. Everybody, because as soon as we finish here, send me an email and I will get you into the trading room. You can watch us trade for the next 6 days. dgreen927@yahoo.com. It doesn't cost anything. Come, join us, hang out. It costs absolutely nothing. We'll walk you through how to open up futures accounts. We'll tell you everything that you need to do. We're going to give away some accounts too. Let me see. I got 5 we can give away.
All right. Why don't we just do that now?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that now before we run out of time here? 9 minutes left.
Now,
so
different email though, Ryan, right?
Oh, you're going to change it up on us. Okay.
Well, no, it's just that this one has to go to wsgta.com@gmail.com.
WSGTA.
That's to claim your free account. wsgta.com@gmail.com. Yeah, because my man will get those emails and he will send me the account.
Okay, yeah. So thank you, producer. That's on the screen.
Oh.
Folks, write this down now. We also want you to CC shows@benzinga.com. I know some of you say, I didn't get the free account that I won. We can't help you if you don't email us.
Guys, take profits in the MESs.
We have to
got a point.
Work with David on that. Okay, David, you ready to do this?
Yeah, do it, man.
All right, let's do it. What are we going to go with today? Let's see. We're going to go with
now, guys and girls. We'll see if we can get 2 points, but keep a tight stop on this. There we go. Boom. 1.2 points in the ESs off our pivot point. Beautiful trade, guys and girls. Next.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. You're all good.
All right, thanks. We're going to go with my lucky number and my co-host, 13. Let me get 13s in the chat. The number, not the Roman numerals. Let me get some 13s in the chat. We'll go ahead and select 5 winners for that. I'll wait for the chat to get flooded, and then we'll go
flood
ahead
it up,
and do
baby.
This.
Great trade off the pivot point, guys. There's 3 points. If you're trailing a little bit, very nice. Boom. Anthony got back to break even. Good.
Okay, we got a whole bunch of 13s. Here we go. First winner here today. Bang. Akin Teo. Akin Teo. You are winner number 1. Winner number 1. All right, reshuffling the deck here. Next is going to be Funky Cold Stocks. All right.
Love it. Funky Cold Medina.
I love it. You are a winner here today as well. Congrats. Let me reshuffle this here. Let's take this off. Reshuffle these here. All right. Next here, we're going to go ahead and shake it up. Okay. Next here, Oscar Ramirez. Oscar Ramirez, you are our third winner here today. Be sure to shoot off that email. All right. 2 more here today. Next one is going to be Moses 1748. Moses 1748. You are
Moses
also
is
winning.
going to part the Red Sea too.
Oh, look at that. I was waiting for someone to make that joke. We got it. We didn't have to wait all that long. Moses, you are a winner. Okay, that's 4. Last one here. Last one here. Bang. Fergus Dingen. Fergus, you are a
Another
winner.
great name.
I know. I love it.
I
absolutely love it. And I actually think that's one of our viewers from across the pond, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up. All right, good stuff there, folks. Congrats to all of our winners here today. Be sure to email the emails on the screen, wsgta.com@gmail.com. And please CC shows@benzinga.com.
So let me just show you guys real quick. I know we're up against it. We got 5 minutes, but check this out, okay? This is technical analysis at its finest, right? We've had 3 trades this morning, 3 winning trades. This is our pivot point, guys and girls. Our pivot points are going to be, generally speaking, further away from where anything is trading. See how far up this is and how far down that was. It exactly hit our pivot point. It went 2 ticks below our pivot point. And if you trailed one of your trades, you just got 10 points out of that trade. One contract, $500. So what we like to do is I'll do multiple contracts. Let's say I do 3 contracts. I'll take a quick 2 points. I'll take a quick 4 points. And then I'll just keep raising my stop. And you can see we just hit the top of the orb, which is where we should have got out. And that was a 10-point profit. So 3 trades this morning. I've gotten, 15 private messages that people are done trading for the day. It is 9:55.
All right. I love that you left time because Lion here is saying, bring Peter back on to give us some energy.
Is he here?
Let me tell you something, Lion. Ask and you shall
No
receive.
way. No
Peter,
way.
Look, the guy never sleeps. What do you mean?
But that's incredible. We finished trading for the day, and here's Peter back to wrap it up for the last 5 minutes.
Awesome.
Insane.
I'm so excited to be back. A couple of things I really want to mention because we just talked after that market spiked up the way it did, and we were talking about good news, maybe good news. Well, that didn't really last too long. What really happened was that apparently there's a whole tranche of sellers. You notice the way the SPYs traded up so aggressively. Well, they knocked them down really, really quickly as well. But I just wanted to bring up an interesting point because I know a lot of your audience are new traders and retail traders and whatnot. We just IPO'd a SPAC on the floor just now. It just opened. We haven't had SPACs for a while.
What was the ticker?
It's called the New America Acquisition. It is on the board is Eric and Donald Jr. Trump. It is a SPAC that is focusing on companies that are promoting bringing manufacturing back to the United States. Now, everyone knows that SPACs are a $10 name, right? They open at 10, they stay at 10, and they don't do a lot. And, God knows what happened. They were really robust for a bunch of years, and they got overdone. Now they're starting to come back, right? But it's curious. Rarely do they ever open and get priced above the $10 level. It was priced at 10. It opened at 10, 10.20, I think 10 and a quarter with a huge bid on balance, showing that there's a lot. They were oversubscribed and They were oversubscribed and there was so much enthusiasm. Trading at 10.40 already. But it just goes to show, look, the IPO market, we did a launch the other day with Vlad from Robinhood and a number of other people here on the floor, and the guy from PreMarket also they said their whole shtick was make IPOs great again. So it was kind of a fun thing because look, when the IPO market is hot, that really signifies that the whole landscape is exciting. Retail's coming back. People are starting to look for things to invest in, and that brings in a whole nother tranche of retail people. The whole point of this is that in order to trade stocks that are as volatile like this and a market as volatile like this is you need to know technical analysis. And there's nobody better to learn technical analysis from, then it's David. And definitely Wall Street Global Trading Academy is the place to go in the simplest form, right? We just launched a new course, right? It's 9 hours. It's trading the futures market with Apex. Infinite Possibilities, our preferred futures platform, but it's 9 hours. It's as basic as you want to get, and it's as advanced as you want to get, right? We talk about Fibonacci. We talk about exponential moving averages, technical analysis at the end of every. Markets can go up and down like crazy, but it's incredible. How does the chart know when to stop going down and start going up again? The technicals really never disappoint. And so if anybody is interested in learning how to trade this volatility, trade the opening bell, we are on with our YouTube channel on Monday and Friday. We're on with you guys on Thursday, but we have the course that we just launched last week, which is spectacular. Go to WSGTA.com and check it out. It comes with coaching and mentoring. Also, we're giving away a free Apex account with everybody who buys it between now and midnight tomorrow night. So run, don't walk. The price of the course is also going up next week exponentially based on the demand. We launched it a week and a half ago, and it's been going like hotcakes because everybody wants to know how to trade this market, and technical analysis is the best. And to be coached by David is the best thing you could ever want. And trade the opening bell with David and Benzinga is just that's the difference. People sit down at their machine, whether they've been doing this for a long time or not. They're still it's intimidating, right? They don't know what to do, what charts to look at, what stocks to look at, right? But so to have somebody like David help you walk through the orb trade, the opening trade, listening to me rant and rave about what's going to happen into the opening, that's what will give somebody a comfort level to actually start hitting the buttons, because new traders are still sitting there a bit frozen, like a deer in the headlines, because they don't know what to do yet. So to have David do opening you and then with us on our YouTube channel is great. So check it out, WSGTA.com. The course is available now, and we're giving away Apex course till tomorrow at midnight. So check it out.
Okay. All right. Real good stuff here. Speaking of technical analysis, we told you, we drew a trend line here on Cala in the pre-market, said that's probably where the stock's going to go if it ends up going higher through the VWAP. Looky here. That is exactly what happened. Okay. David, really good stuff here this week. Thank you very much. Thank you and Peter for all the generosity, and thanks for giving out those accounts. We'll catch up with you next week. All right, buddy?
Thank you very much, Ryan. Always a pleasure being here. Thanks for having us.
Likewise. Be well, David. That is David Green from WSGTA. His departure leaves room for 13. 13, look at this. Cala to the trend line, baby.
All right. We got some good trades in that. QCLS did pretty well. We went up to 6, broke through that. Couldn't quite get up to the 685 level yet, but we're still in the 6 handle for the time being. Looking like it's going a little sideways. Might even roll over here, getting a little bit weak as the morning goes on. $6 is going to be your support level. If we lose that, you have VWAP beneath it. But if we do lose 6, I think we're going to, it might be that situation where we're just going to want to wait for support to kick in and see if we get another move back over 6. But great trading out of the gate for that one this morning, as was the well, not out of the gate for Cala, but later on that worked as well. We also had some nice movement out of PLRZ out of the gate, but that's since just kind of been going sideways back and forth. So
Path was another really good mover there. That did a great retest of the top end of the pre-market range and went to 1738. It's actually still holding above 17. Path looking pretty good. So that was another real good one there. And also BBAI. I know we've been asked about this a few times this week. It really hadn't been doing much of anything. Today, though, straight up out of the gate, pretty good volume too, higher than the day prior. So BBAI looks like this is rolling here.
We also had Marvell.
Above the trend line. Sorry, 13.
We also had Marvell. That had a nice $3 move out of the gate. It's giving it back, but that was a really nice move that had. And let's just go back to Cala here, see if we can identify some more levels since we're beyond all the ones we drew. Okay.
This Marvell move, yeah, this interesting. This pop here, we're still not above, or still can't break out from yesterday's highs, but we're still above the lows. I know Liz and Jenny really liked this one yesterday.
So one of the more recent highs we had here in Cala was up at 191, and looks like $2 from back in September was also a pretty interesting spot of resistance. And we had this big drop off. I don't know if this was might have been earnings or some other piece of financial news, but we had a big drop off here in Cala from September 26th to the 29th, that weekend there. So there's going to be a big gap to fill if we continue upwards. But we do have some resistance levels in the way in the middle of that gap. But first, let's see if we can even get back up to 190 or $2. That would be the next area I'd be looking at for resistance.
Pure Storage maybe bottomed here in a 69 handle. That's still looking kind of weak, showing no bounce potential here today. Rivian, this is higher out of the gate. This is basically right at yesterday's intraday high here, slightly below VWAP, but Rivian strong, plus 1.7%. And guys, that ticker on that SPAC that Peter was talking about, I have it as NWAX/U. So that's what I pulled up for in my broker. Tom saying, did anyone catch NVIDIA's Jensen Huang on Joe Rogan pumping nuclear power? No. So guys, no spoilers. You will be tossed out of here. And that includes you, 13. No spoilers. I have not listened to that one. I'm doing it today.
Okay. I won't say anything.
No spoilers. Sorry, I'm normally not a full day behind on some of the good pods, but I am this time. And I apologize for that.
Being asked if it's still a good time to get in the call. I mean, like when it's starting to run like this, I don't think you want to buy into that run because you could get trapped up in the 70s like some of those folks were just a moment ago. I'd like to see this form a bit of a get a little bit more footing. Maybe see if it can continue to hold above that pre-market high that we were at, the 156 level. We can continue to hold above that. That might be a better spot for entry, but I wouldn't be buying it into the run. I think I'd wait for some support.
I completely agree with you. 13. The entry here was anywhere between 136 and 140 on the VWAP cross move higher. Right now, this is the liquidity. This is what you should be selling into, especially since we identified the resistance area there at the trend line. Now, maybe if we backtest and hold this 160 area, we do push higher here. That is a higher risk trade, though.
And here we have QCLS. It did come back underneath the $6 handle briefly to test VWAP, and then we went higher up to 675, which is just shy of the 685 area I'm looking at for the next resistance. Let me identify the next level up, because if we are going to break the 685, I want to kind of get an idea where it's going next.
Okay, UiPath, that pulled off at 1730 high. Didn't quite get back to the VWAP. I'd like it a little bit more if it actually tested that VWAP.
Okay, so I guess I would say, let's put a line here. Looks to me like about 780. If we do manage to get above this 685 area, 780 looks to be the next one. And then after that, I would probably lean on $9, even though you might get some resistance around 850. I think $9 looks like the bigger area of resistance. So those are the next levels to the upside that has resistance on QCLS, 685, 780, and 9.
Okay.
All right.
Blue Owl Capital maybe curling a little bit here. BBAI, which we talked about, trading on some really good volume. I'll tell you what, that volume continued to expand. BBAI continued higher there. ASPI chart. Let me take a look at that. It's higher out of the open too. Do we have news on this? Volume actually looks like this is dying off a little bit, up here 12%. Cantor Fitzgerald initiates coverage. Yeah, this is good. So $13 target. That's more than double from where we're at here.
Looks like this has some short interest too, with only a little less than 2 days to cover, but still elevated short interest.
Okay. Got a price target double the current price. High short interest. That might be the makings of a upside move there.
Looks like this company has their founder returning as CEO on January 19th. That's Paul Mann. So I don't know if that's going to provide a catalyst at all. We'll see, but if this is interesting to you, ASPI, mark your calendars, January 19th.
January 19th. PLRZ did pull here. It actually broke the VWAP. I think 14 is probably your level there. PLRZ. It's got to hold.
QCLS. We're back up here trying to hit that 685 level and get through it. Still seeing some resistance here, but we're back up at this area again. Looks like Kala is still trying to work out if it's going to back off or try and push higher. But seems like even though we went up to 172, it seems like 165 is giving it some trouble.
Tell you what, Tesla action today has been wild. First move was down, met by a really strong, great bounce that went through the VWAP. That was actually tradable. Tesla pulling back here now to its 65 EMA on the 5.
All right, Dan.
450.
Nice job on your 20% trade on Kala.
Here we go. Register ring for that. Register ring for that. We've actually had some really good opportunities here today. Didn't look great in the pre-market. Everything looked kind of dead, but then we got opportunities.
There goes QCLS through our next resistance area and tapping 7.
Speak of the devil, 13. Speak of the devil. Another move here, QCLS.
All right. So if we start closing over 7, we're going to want to see this handle hold up, or at the very least 685. If we even, if that holds up and goes a little bit sideways, next resistance area, 780. Let's see if we can achieve that here.
And Zach, you're exactly right on Ondas. Ondas here, inside candle forming here today. We'll see if that does have the strength to maybe break out. But you can see we are inside yesterday's candle on the daily. Let's see if we do break higher here and make a dash for 10. Dash for double digits.
Make sure if you're trading QCLS, you're managing your risk properly, because we don't want any of these things just coming in all of a sudden on folks. So make sure you're setting your stops appropriately and protecting yourself.
So where would you set a stop on this one, 13?
I think at this stage, let me go back.
660?
No.
I would want to do it above 650, which might be a pullback level there.
Yeah, I mean, so we were kind of flirting with this the resistance turn support area that we were just mentioning. I would probably say maybe somewhere around 665. 670. It's I just don't want to get flushed out and have that not work on me. So I'd probably put it closer to 650.
Okay,
just to give myself a little bit room. But the longer this kind of hangs up here and goes back and forth, I might be compelled to raise it just because I don't know if we're going to get flushed or not.
Sure.
So, but this could it could also push higher. Just watch the volume. No, not anymore. No, the ones I traded today, Kala and PLRZ.
You did make a trade on PLRZ.
Yeah, it was just quick out of the gate. I just the first 5-10 minutes haven't done anything else.
Kala here did sink below the trend line. We'll see if it can start building above that. 170, what was that? 172, your intraday high.
It may just be consolidating and just flagging for the next move up, but 165, I think that's going to be the next big.
Gotcha.
You have to start closing over that because we're getting rejected at about that level there. So that's what I think we need to close over. Lots of sellers in the way. Every 5 cents starting at 170. There's just a lot of sellers just every 5 cents up from that level.
Gotcha.
All right, so
Rivian retracing that up move out of the open. It's kind of nasty. UI path probably looking for some more highs here. That was the best setup that I saw out of the gate here.
QCLS grinding higher. 727 now. 731. Maybe even raise your stop again.
Yeah, I think with each of these pushes higher, 13, I think it's a really good idea to raise your stop. I think you're spot on with that. Teva, generic drug maker here. This is higher as well. Seeing some of the robot stocks or the robotic stocks, if you will, the trade again. Remember, we had that political headline yesterday that drove all of them regarding the Trump administration looking into robotic companies. RR and Serve popped on that, getting a little bit of continuation here today. Tesla pulled off its 454 high.
He certainly knows how to get a lot of people trapped in quantum shorts, WGT. That's for sure. Kala still kind of hanging out here, trying to get that 165 level. PMI, this thing has not really done a whole lot except just look weak. This dropped out of the gate, tried to recover from going beneath some of these pre-market lows after the impulse move. Still having trouble recapturing some levels. It looks like this could end up coming back underneath the UF and testing the 200 EMA again on the 5-minute. QCLS 764 just hit. We're just 16 cents shy of that 780 level. Looking a little bit weak here. Keep raising your stops, I think, because I don't want this to knife on anybody. And if it does, at least we'll capture some of our gains here.
Dollar General, this up near the highs here, 120 on the back of its earnings report and its guide above estimates. Look at Rigetti straight up. So you know what? Let me take a look at let me put RGTZ here. And let me take a look at RGTI on the daily chart where we have some more clearly defined levels.
We just got up to the 20-day SMA. So we'll see if this is going to be a side of rejection or if it's going to be able to recapture it. If it does, there could be a gap fill from about 27 to 28, about $1 gap fill if we recapture this 20-day SMA.
And then are you thinking here, if we get rejected here, maybe that's entry for RGTZ?
I'm a little less enthusiastic to try and go long on the short side of this, the RGTZ, just because
the inverse, yeah.
Just because the price action that we're seeing here with Rigetti, it looks like it's trying to turn around here. If this was a little bit more of a sharper rebound, I'd say that, yeah, we probably would get rejected. But this has been spending some time trying to go sideways. So that may have formed a base here. So that's why I'm curious about this 20-day SMA to see if we can recapture it. Because if we can't and it gets rejected, then we may end up just getting, going lower from there.
Okay.
I'm just curious to see what happens today. I'm just a little bit reluctant to start shorting this thing again because it still looks like it could have some more upside.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you there. It's up 3%. Actually having a nice day here today. Does look like it's kind of struggling with this 26.89 currently here at 26.86. We'll see. It's at a spot here.
And Tenzin, that's really all that a lot of traders need. Just stick to one sector or one theme, or even in your case, one stock. And if it's working for you and making money, I don't see a reason to change that unless something happens. So you don't have to be an Apple expert. If you're learning and you're killing it on one stock, keep going, man. Keep going.
I know people that make entire careers off of trading just Tesla or just SPY or something like that. If you have repeatable results, that is a key indicator. If you can do that on one stock, fantastic. If you can do that on a bunch of stocks, better still. But consistency is the key there.
Kala, big move down here, losing VWAP in the process. It looks like QCLS might be following it. Could have some tweezer top action happening here. 765 as high as it went, just about 15 cents shy of the 780 we're looking for. This is coming down to the support area around 7 or between 685 and 7. We'll see if that holds up. But this is one of the reasons why I was encouraging maybe raising your stops so that if we do get some downside move that accelerates further down, you've already locked in your gains and you're not going to lose on this trade.
Yeah, Bharat saying that's the best strategy. I trade only 2 or 3 stocks every day until those lose momentum, and then you move to another one or another side. That makes a lot of sense, Bharat. You've been killing it.
Here we go with Rocket Lab, new session high now, 46.47. PLRZ, this lost its 65 EMA and is just now beginning to recapture it. I don't know that this is going to necessarily recover. Still see some resistance around 675, 68 to 17. You have the VWAP in the way. You're going to see some better volume out of this one if it's going to recover and go back above VWAP. Kala continuing to sell off more.
BBAI still holding near its highs. Rigetti still going up a little bit. That's still strong here.
Lots of great comments here about if you're just trading 1 or 2 stocks. Great stuff.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to spread myself too thin, even when I'm looking at daily movers like this, which is one of the reasons why I miss things, right? If I'm looking at one target and I miss it, and then there were other things happening at the same time, again, that's just something that's worked for me. More Microsoft puts coming across the wire here.
Where is that at today? Because I still want to see. I mean, this thing was looking strong earlier this week, but I was like, well, I don't know that we're necessarily done with the weakness, and here we are coming back down towards the 200-day SMA. Still think that we are possibly going to 440 in this one. All right, QCLS, here we go. Starting to come in, starting to test that 7 as support. I don't know if it's going to hold up. It'd be great if it did, but I don't know if it will. Poet, this one we were looking at yesterday. This is hasn't had a bad day. It's essentially been trading in the entire pre-market price range, but it opened lower and went lower, and then it recovered. So nice price action for trading, coming up to resistance around 625 to 630. So don't know if we're going to get a breakout over this level or if we're going to get rejected. Volume's kind of low.
Yeah, this is right at a level. That's a good mention there, though. 13.
Izzy's mentioning that ASTS is ripping. I hope that I'm just going to go to my watch list and see what all the space plays are doing.
Rigetti pumping now 27s. Okay, ASTS.
You can go to ASTS. I'm going to look at my space watch list, and I want to see what's good today. So basically, the only two things that are down are Plug Power and Citus Space. So I don't know what necessarily if there's news that's causing this to go up. I mean, it looks like WiseKey and ASTS are up the most today. Lunar not doing bad either. Obviously, I'm on Rocket Lab. There must be some kind of either news or maybe rate sentiment. Not sure what's causing this move here today, but nice to see all the space stocks going. All right, QCLS still getting some support from that $7 area. Need to see some better volume though if we're going to push back up into the 780 towards 780. Kala sinking lower. Rocket Lab's hitting or flirting with 47 right now.
Kala, Rocket Lab. Let me bring up Rocket Lab real quick.
Yeah. Oh, Rocket Lab is now we're through 47. We're having a good time here with Rocket Lab. Good time.
Nice pop there.
Mm-hmm.
Ondas pop. Looks like some of these things moving here. The market is trying to bounce off of a pivot level.
Sorry for the dead air. Just trying to see if
you're good.
See anything that looks interesting here.
We'll take an Ondas 9 test, won't we, G-Man? Maybe pop and move through that.
Thanks, Dude Star. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. We try and make this a community that is helpful for others, of people of all levels. And sometimes I feel, we get excited and we make jokes here, but sometimes I feel like too much excitement is actually not helpful. Comments or compliments all day. Sorry.
Yassine was mentioning Amazon down. Let me go and look at Amazon. I'm not interested in picking this one up right now. I've already got a position in this, but let's just see what this is doing today. 228.
I think 225, 220 probably a better support level.
We're down at the 50-day SMA right now at 228.15. If this doesn't hold up, I mean, I don't know about this trend that I have here. Maybe I'll just get rid of this. It's not really looking good to me. I think that's going to have to be it for me. If this 50-day SMA doesn't really hold up here because we just got rejected from the 20, then I'd be looking towards the 200-day SMA where we have been getting support.
It's down there, 214.75.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. Like we've been hitting this 200-day SMA multiple times this year, and when we consistently do that with these moving averages, it tends to be a matter of time before those fail. So that's kind of why I'm just waiting to see what happens here. First thing I need to see is if there's going to be some bullishness in Amazon. We need to see this 50-day estimate hold up, I think, and we need to see it go higher from here. NAC is back up to 2. Oh boy. RAM is higher than gold this year. Isn't it crazy, the prices of RAM?
Yeah, it is. IWM getting some movement to the upside. That would be good for us. That would also explain why some of these other smaller names are really starting to pop. Oh, Yassine, just the salt is out. I love that. Yassine, that is quality energy right there on Packer Week. Let's go, Yassine.
Oh, it's funny too, because we're facing each other in the fantasy league. I think you are starting Caleb and Moore, right?
I think I have to actually. Let me see.
And I'm starting Love and Watson. So.
Oh man, it's that's fun. That makes it even more fun.
It's gonna be real. This is gonna be real, folks.
You are projected to spank me.
I know.
Oh, that's because I haven't. Yeah, because you're right. I had Drake May in there, and they're on bye.
Yeah. Look at this support we got in QCLS. 7 still held up, still trying to push higher to that 780, albeit on a little bit lower volume. But it's still got good support there at that 685 to 7 area. Let's see what this candle does. And Voodoo, it's not only a good matchup; it's a very key matchup. It's pretty big for our division.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my starting running back Travion Henderson is on bye, so you're going to catch a break with that one. 13 is going to catch a break with that one, but this is still going to be fun.
Oh, Jay, if you're still out there, look at Terrestrial Energy (IMSR) with a little bit of a muted move out of the gate here this morning. But once we hit the highs from yesterday, which appears to be some kind of a resistance area, we broke out and went about good 50 cents here, in a span of about 5 minutes. Still holding up here too, above 10. Very slow moving, but nice movement.
And by the way, ISMR, I got another one of my buddies that really likes this. This is the one that was formerly Hond, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah,
it was.
And
I know you guys have been talking about this for some time, but there's some others that are onto this one too.
And it's interesting too, because this now we're back above the SPAC price. So let's see if it can hold above the SPAC price. Big pull in ES. Let me go look and take a look here at this spot.
Yeah, there was pull in the NASDAQ as well.
So here we're still back on this thing with, hey, we're hitting these prints above 684, but we're still not able to close above 684. At least that's what it looks like for now. We still have a whole day ahead of us, so that could change. But 684 on the SPY, big tough resistance area. FRMI is also moving. I think that at some point I'm gonna really be into this stock, but knowing that they're operationally not going to have income for some time, at least 12 months. I think I'm just going to hold off for now. Maybe I'll change my mind if it starts trading above the 20-day SMA again, but right now I'm just waiting because they're still building. The other, yes, that's it. NKLR, that's right.
Tesla totally rolled over here, although it looks like it's trying to bounce off 445.
Nice thing about NKLR, this recaptured its 20-day SMA yesterday, and now it's going higher. And I've seen a couple others, movers, or names we've traded frequently that have recaptured their 20-day SMA and are starting to go higher. Archer's one of them. So is Rocket Lab. So these names that have been really, really hammered down, that are starting to recapture that moving average. A little bit interesting to me. I do need to see some other moving averages recaptured as well, or some other levels, but it's bodes well for the upside for these companies. I think for Archer, the next area that I need to see cleared is 9. Is the Fed starting the printing machine? Is they oiling it up? Peter
Guys talking about app.
Yeah, Lion's talking about app. Peter wants us to look at JSPR. I think we've traded this one too as well.
Yeah, that's Jasper Therapeutics, isn't it? Man, look at the move on app recently. You guys aren't kidding. 150-point move on that in just a few sessions.
So I think this one had we traded earlier this week, didn't we? Excuse me, Jasper, because they had news earlier this week. I don't remember if we looked at it or not. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. We've looked at Jasper a number of times. This is a common day trader stock.
Yep, it's on my list here between TAOP and MNDR. So yeah, we did trade this.
That was Tuesday. Yep.
And it looks like it's just moving today after it got a buy rating and a hold rating. So I don't know if it's anything else that's causing it to move up, but that appears to be the situation. And folks, it is just seconds away from it being 10:30. Volume could start to look pretty weak here. Just keep that in mind. QCLS, going back to this one, this is now going back and forth consolidating. Don't know if it's going to consolidate to go higher. We'll see what happens, but it's still above that 685.7 support area. Volume does look like it's still lower than what we were getting earlier. So just be careful with this one. We are at that time where volume does leave the market. Any thoughts on LAES?
That's kind of been out of favor recently. That was one that was running quite often, wasn't it?
Well, it's got some news today. And
actually not a bad trend over the last several sessions.
Not really. Let's see here. So here's another one that is, has been hammered down. We just got support from the 200-day SMA. We've bounced off that. And now we are trading over the 20-day SMA for the first time since November 6th. So we could be seeing some recovery here. Now, I don't know if we're certainly getting recovery here. $5 would be the next area. I think we might run into some resistance. And then you have the 50-day SMA just above that. Next two areas I'd be looking for to recapture before I would view this a little bit more favorably to the upside. Favorably, sorry.
Nice
up 11%. Yep. Sorry, Gina.
I was just going to say, a nice little bounce there in RGTZ. Finally, a little bit later than we had taken a look at, but that is bouncing a little bit. And then you were mentioning ASTS, right? That is still at the highs here.
Yeah, let's go back.
This thing was $52 on Monday.
I haven't looked at the chart. Let me see what this chart looks like. Let's see what this chart looks like. Okay, hey, right at the 50-day SMA. I think you just said that. And this is another one that hammered down. Yesterday, it recaptured the 20-day SMA, and we're going higher. I wonder if we could scan for stuff like that.
What?
Let's say names of companies that have had a 30 to 50% decline and have just closed over the 20-day SMA. I think you can do stuff like that in Thinkorswim. I'm not sure if we can do it with Pro.
Yeah, you will. So the moving average crosses or above and below, that's something in the works. Everything else you can probably do. What time frame? Like that down 30% over what time frame?
Let's say since the middle of October, because remember we were near all-time highs around there, and then we had the end of the month happen where firms started dumping everything, and it led to the market decline. And since then, a lot of other names, including some of these, I don't want to say junkier names, but them too. They've all had, the IWM names. They've all had a pretty steep decline. off the end of October high. So I think I would look at the time frame of the past 45 days maybe.
Yeah, 45 days is not a time frame that we have. So we'll probably have 1
days.
month, 1 week.
30 days, 60 days.
Yeah, a 1 month.
Right.
Yeah, we would be able to do that. We'll look at that when that feature drops. 13, maybe we'll look at that and do something instructional on it.
Hey, look at that. Thank you for mentioning that, Christoph. We got QCLS to pop above that 780 resistance, but it came right back in after hitting 795. More great moves out of this. I don't know if it's going to hold up. It's the volume is it's a little concerning, and I just don't know when this is going to finally give way here, because it's been staircasing up since the pre-market. At some point this likely could pull. Now I know that I know that Shkreli's in this and saying it's going to 100. No idea when that time. I don't recall what his time frame was.
There was none from what I was looking at.
But I haven't done any due diligence on QCLS aside from just looking at the chart mostly. So
we're getting new highs. So quantum names are hot. Yeah. I see QBTS also on the list. So it looks like some of those other quantum names trading up here. I would be interested to see if that gets to a point where shorting actually makes sense. Andas 9 test coming here.
And here we are with Rigetti. We're just shy of that $28 level that I was mentioning earlier. That's the bottom of the sideways consolidation that I was talking about earlier this year. Back in October, November. So we're coming up there. That's where I'm looking to see if we're going to get any resistance from that. So $28. If we get resistance, start backing off, might be
time to look at RGTZ. Okay.
It might be time then. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was getting at.
Dara here said that he assigned a year. It could take a year, he said, regarding that QCLS. If it goes from $6 to 100 in a year, that's a monster trade. And that'd be a monster call if that ends up coming out.
We'll see. I don't know enough about
put us in the skeptical category for now.
I just don't know enough about QCLS
to
know if we're going to see 100. Let's look and see what 100 looks like here on the chart, because oh god, how many times has this thing been reverse split?
ASTS, this is strong. Path super strong here. So there've been a number of these that have been pretty good all day and are still good. Goldman Sachs put in a new all-time high today. And the VIX, by the way, we talked about that. VIX looks like it traded up off the 16 level. Couldn't get much higher than 1660, though.
This is kind of weird. I'm looking to see if there's any, reverse splits. It doesn't say that there's any, but I'm looking at the chart, and this thing, I seriously doubt this thing was ever $30,000.
No, it wasn't.
So I don't know about
maybe a ticker change. There could be something that explains that.
Yeah, but man, this thing has been diluted quite a bit. I guess let's see. Here's going to be my call with QCLS. Just looking at the chart. Let's see what happens at 15. Okay, let's see what we get out of that. I can see resistance at 10. That might not provide a whole lot of resistance. It certainly was a support turn resistance area, but you have the 200-day SMA bearing down on the $15 handle. I think $15 looks kind of interesting if we continue with this upside here. Also was mentioned earlier, I don't remember exactly who, but they did point out that the daily RSI for QCLS is quite high. We're just shy of 80.
NTLA, the gene editor, that's moving higher here. I'm going to check in on Eat It and CRISPR as well.
Me neither, Matt.
Yep.
Okay.
That'd be tough for you guys. You guys are worried about fingernail painting instead of playing. That's going to be very, very tough for you.
Just reminds me of Semi-Pro when they put the eyeliner on. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes.
Now that I've never seen. Is that movie funny?
If you think Will Ferrell, the earlier Will Ferrell is funny, then yes.
Will Ferrell is definitely.
He's kind of dropped off for me, but
kind of is a very kind way of putting it.
But it's got Woody Harrelson in it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought Semi-Pro was funny. It had some great one-liners. Everybody love everybody. Come on. People that see it know.
Producer like semi-pro, apparently. There you go.
It was not. I don't think it was as great as Step Brothers or Talladega Nights, but it was. I enjoyed it. All right, let's see here. Back to markets. Kala still trading. We do the Talladega Nights too. I don't know.
Producer knows what's up. Now, Talladega Nights was good. Like you were mentioning there, Step Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, Anchorman though, like that to me is like that's where it peaked.
And I think that's a great.
It wasn't very funny after that.
And I think that's a great point because Anchorman 2 didn't do too well, and I didn't think it was as great. So to Talladega Nights 2, I would say let's not do it and just respect the original content. Let's not go the way that Hollywood has been by trying to do remakes and sequels and literally nothing else. Blades of Glory is pretty good too. That final ending scene was magical.
Magical.
the final skate. But anyway.
Really quickly, big call buying here in RR and big put buying in CAT. The 490 puts. I almost wonder if those were sold. 1,400 of them. 490.
Oh wow, CAT hitting what all-time highs today?
Yeah, almost $600.
Look. I mean, just look at this move. Since the Liberation Day, everybody was like, "Well, hey, if we're going to be building all this, we're going to need Caterpillar." So
I was going to say there were a lot of very hot data center names, but this one kind of flew under the radar. And look at the chart.
Yeah, I wonder if this, where this finally tops out at, because it might not be done.
Yeah,
I get that people are buying puts. Certainly makes sense if because of how much it's run, but even following a pullback or maybe even a correction in this name, since given the nature of how much it's run, it still looks like we could be seeing over 600 next year. Yeah. It just seems possible.
Yeah, old school was really good, but guys, that was not better than Anchorman. No, come on.
It's funny, I was so old school. A lot of the scenes were filmed in front of the same area where, if you remember, where George McFly fell out of the tree. That was in front of my friend's house.
Huh.
And
that's amazing.
I was staying there when they were also filming Old School. I was watching the scene from across the street where Will Ferrell comes out with the blow-up doll, and he's talking with Luke Wilson's character and the other lady that's there. And from across the street, one of the guys calls him Godfather. That whole scene I was watching that day. So interesting. It's interesting that one street where apparently some producers live gets a lot of film scenes in different.
That's wild. That's a nice piece of trivia right there too. That's pretty cool.
It's in South Pasadena.
Interesting. Actually, so Goldman Sachs made some new all-time highs here today. Looks like some puts coming across the unusual option wire there. Just regressing back to the mean a little bit. Rigetti here approaching 28. Didn't quite test that, but we're close.
QCLS, great day, but the MACD is starting to concern me a little bit here. So, and we're still above $7. So as long as we hold above there, we may still get some more upside. But I'd be concerned about this momentum swing shifting the price action toward the downside. You do have that $7 support level, the 685 area as well, and then VWAP. So got some support to the downside, but if selling really picks up after we lose one or two of these levels, we could see this thing under 6 pretty quick.
All right. 13, our guest for all access is here. So we're going to go ahead and run that now, but do me a favor, stick in the background.
Sure.
Because I think we'll come back here and then we'll close the show out here together. All right.
All right. I'm just back here drinking my coffee.
I'm finishing my coffee. Okay.
I'm glad you picked that up.
Yeah, that one. Look, I was born at night, but not last night. That one is a good one. We will definitely do that. Okay, 13. I'll see you in a few minutes here.
You got it.
All right, sounds good. Folks, we are going to be moving over to all access right now. I'm going to go ahead and do it with you here for this all access. So really, really excited. We're going to be talking with Ben Eldridge, product manager of XU308, known as Uranium IO. All access starts right now. All right, welcome, Ben. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us here today. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you, and thank you for having me. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, so tell us, Uranium IO, redefining access to one of the world's most strategic resources using Etherlink, which runs on a Tezos blockchain. Why don't you tell us about this? It looks like December 3rd marks a year since Uranium IO went live. Why would investors want to invest in uranium, and how does the platform work?
Yeah, well, look, it kind of does what it says on the tin, really. So you have used the Etherlink platform and blockchain technology to provide access to physical uranium, which until we launched a year ago, and we're obviously very proud to make it to a year and be around for a lot longer than that. We kind of have seen lots of news around nuclear, and it's now linked with AI. And I think not just AI, but global demand for baseload clean energy is therefore increasing demand for nuclear, right? In terms of once fully operational, it is one of, if not the most reliable and one of the cleanest forms of energy production you can have. And so those drivers, both at a sort of state level in terms of energy security as we get into a more volatile world, as well as at a corporate level for things like everything that we're doing around AI and beyond, needs more and more power. And so nuclear is sort of the only really proven mechanism to do that. And if you want to have more nuclear, you need more uranium. But until we launched last year, it was an asset class, an asset that was very inaccessible in terms of the physical market, because you needed sort of to be trading in £100,000 in weight lot sizes, which at current spot is about $7.5 million, which is not sort of pocket change. And so what we did last year when we launched uranium.io was make it where there's no minimum, and if you hold XU308, you actually have beneficial ownership to the physical uranium. Now, that means that you and I can't necessarily take physical delivery of it because we're not going to get approved for a converter account. But if you're a participant in the nuclear supply chain, you can now get fractional access and build a position and have better capital efficiency, and then take physical delivery, because if you own 1,000, 2,000 pounds of equivalent of XU308, you could have that delivered into your storage account. So it really is, it's a bigger macro trend. But what we liked about it was it's got a lot more alignment with the audience that we talk to compared to a tokenized money market fund and things. And we think it's critical to, as a mechanism to attracting more capital to a crucial sector of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does seem like that opens it up to people that can actually afford. I mean, I agree with you. $7 million is not pocket change there. So that makes total sense. They're really cool stuff. Look, this fall, uranium.io launched the world's first live spot price feed for uranium. Why is price transparency so important for this market?
Yeah, I think in short, it's because it's not had it before, right? It's a market that historically has been an opaque, relationship-driven market that's pretty niche, into a more investable asset class. And if you've got a reliable price feed that's out there, that in terms of what we've built from a price estimate, that enables you not only to better price the spot asset, but also then build other critical financial infrastructure around it. You know, futures, there are futures on the CME, but they're very thinly traded. Other derivative products that can help, you know, financial investors, again, be more willing to access the market, but also those people with large inventories of uranium, utilities and the like, manage their own risk. So that having a transparent benchmark just makes it more of a credible market for institutional and other investors to invest in. And it makes it a fairer, more data-driven kind of market that if you're contracting for hedging purposes, if you're a producer, or a utility or a trader, you want a reliable price feed for that, and pricing every minute and transparently is something that we thought was critical to what we want to do for the future of this market.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I don't think I would actively invest in something I couldn't get a transparent spot price for. So I think that's straight on there. Look, we're also coming off of Benzinga's FinTech Day and awards. Uranium.io won Best New Product for Innovation in Crypto and Web3 for tokenization of U308. Congratulations, by the way. What made Uranium.io stand out from everyone else?
I mean, I've got my own views of what makes it stand out, but I'm sure the judges may or may not agree. But we're delighted to have won the award, of course. But in short, I think actually what we've built with Uranium.io is a true example of the power of tokenization. A lot of people are tokenizing products that are already widely accessible, just saving cost by putting it on chain. I think what we've done here is taking something that's been traditionally a liquid and opaque commodity into something that's digitally tradable 24/7 globally with no minimums. And then we've layered on other aspects to that as well, right, which are first in market. So we announced at the start of November, just before the awards actually, that you can then through the Morpho protocol, you can actually use XU308 as collateral to borrow USDC. So again, it's I think what we focused on, a lot of us have traditional finance backgrounds, is how do we move the market infrastructure forward first and foremost. It's a market infrastructure play. But then once you've done that, how do you broaden that out to benefit from the wider DeFi ecosystem to bring even more capital efficiency and utility to what we've done? And it seems like, if I was speculating, the judges appreciated all of that, and we're delighted to have won the award, and really thrilled that we were chosen for it.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure that there was a lot of overlap there. How does listing U308 across global exchanges like KuCoin and Gate help Uranium.io and uranium investors?
Yeah, I think it's really about creating some of that secondary market. So again, before we launched, nearly all the trading happened on a sort of bilateral basis and an OTC. And we're believers, having seen it happen in a number of different areas, that just because you tokenize something doesn't create liquidity, right? So for us, we obviously built Uranium.io as the first trading platform to enable this. But we recognize that for a lot of different investor segments, actually going through a centralized exchange, having a lot of the hassle of having your own wallet, and people might not want their own wallet, etc., is taken care of by trading on a centralized exchange. Sure. So for us, the simple play was getting it listed on some of these global exchanges, with a view of then driving more of that secondary market activity from other investor segments that may not have been able to access uranium before. And so it brings that crypto native capital and traders into the uranium ecosystem. No, I don't think, like any market or any asset, right, no one's ever said having more capital allocated to it is a bad thing. Right. And so it was about having as many venues as possible to trade that on. And we've got an announcement next week with 3 more trading venues as well. And then, as we move into next year, we've got some other exciting developments as well. Okay, so it really is about deepening liquidity and improving that price discovery across multiple markets.
That's awesome. You were reading my mind there. And I'm going to press you for a little bit more on that. Tell us how the company, or tell us what, the company has coming out as we close out 2025 here and we head into 2026. What new features is the company releasing in terms of tokenizing uranium?
Yeah, so couple of things. Other venue listings kind of being announced next week. Yeah. So there's 3 more venues going live next week, which is really exciting. So we're thrilled about that. And then a lot of our focus is turning to taking from the lessons learned this year, kind of, and what feedback we've got, and applying that and building other wrappers and other types of frameworks around holding the token to make it even easier. So I mentioned when we talked about exchange listings, right? A big driver of that was people who don't want to have their own wallets. I think what we're seeing also is there's some inefficiency with the existing uranium products on market that aren't as efficient, I would argue, as what we have. And so actually what we're exploring next year is, can we almost reverse engineer into some of those traditional finance product wrappers to gain more traction with that traditional finance audience, institutional investors, by having a product that's got an ICE in and is exchange traded. That kind of opens up that market as well. It's very competitive, of course, but if I think why we didn't start there is because we come at it from the power of blockchain and tokenization is something that improves the market infrastructure by several orders of magnitude. And I would argue other asset classes are seeing that as well, right? Traditional equities, bonds, all moving towards tokenization. If that's the current end state, as people are seeing it in those huge traditional asset classes, why not skip ahead and move straight to tokenization, leapfrog some of those traditional market development stages? But I think the shorter answer is, a lot of the capital pools that we want to tap into haven't necessarily caught up to that, either from their internal risk management processes or from a regulatory perspective in terms of the funds they have not being able to hold tokens directly. And so what we're all about next year, and certainly by the end of the first quarter, I expect we'll see some more traditional finance products holding XU308, but making it accessible to those people who can't hold the tokens directly. And in parallel, what we've built is a really powerful blueprint for tokenization, I would argue. I mentioned at the top of the call, right, about beneficial ownership and the beneficial ownership structure being different to a lot of typical tokenization. We see great utility in that across other different commodities as well. And so we're on a path, we're in advanced conversations with a number of different other inventory holders for metals that are perhaps maybe a little bit less niche, but still suffer from some of those critical problems around opacity, around illiquidity, and actually how can we work with them to use the blueprint we've got from uranium.io to apply that to other metals and other markets and other assets as well.
Okay, it sounds like there's even more expansion plans there. And we call that the Wayne Gretzky method, right? Skate to where the puck is going, not to where it is today. Kind of skip ahead in that. So really awesome stuff. Okay, Ben Elvrich, product manager of XU308, otherwise known as Uranium.io. Sounds really awesome. Look forward to getting the updates from you and having you back.
Perfect. Look forward to it. Thanks very much again for the time.
You're very welcome. All right. That concludes all access here for today. We're going to go back now to PreMarket Playbook. We'll go ahead and bring on 13 again. Let me go ahead and bring him on here. All right, 13, let's wrap this up here. First of all, that is awesome. I think that's really, really cool. And I would love to see that expand. I'd love to be able to more accurately track uranium prices and all of that. That actually sounds really sweet. I think we're just in the first inning of that, by the way. I think there's going to be a lot of expansion in that whole thing. But I digress. Let's go ahead and bring this back on. All right. Let's close this out here. Let's land this plane. We got a couple minutes left. Anything happen while we were talking to Ben there?
Oh, just watching some of these other sectors and names that we've been talking about a lot. I was just mentioning how U.S. battery names are looking pretty good today. The one that's up the most is EOS Energy Enterprises, ticker EOSE. It's up 11, approaching 12%. You had asked me last night which one of these I'm in. I'm trading. You already know that I am in Albemarle AOB. So I'm going to be hanging on to that one for a little bit. Ones that I'm interested in trading are going to be AMPX, and I'm also kind of interested in ENPH, even though ENPH does have a lot of debt coming up that's due. I like how hammered down ENPH is, and it's still got revenue, and it's profitable, but it just has a lot of debt. So I think this could be a real interesting one. I just need to look into this a little bit more. But
okay,
that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just taking a look at all these names that are starting to turn around. The turbines thing I've been on for a while. GEV is fantastic. So is the Siemens stock. Those are doing pretty well. Still expect more upside from those as we build out all this new energy infrastructure with natural gas and nuclear. So look, things are looking pretty good in some of the sectors I'm keeping an eye on. Just looking through those right now.
Okay, real good stuff. We were talking about drones yesterday on Happy Hour. One of the things that you reminded us, we got all of these drones that are going to ramp. There's going to be a ton more.
Yeah.
Guess what's going to power those? Batteries, baby. Exactly. So I think that nice little thing behind the thing, I think that drone theme that we've talked about is also in the early innings, maybe not the first, but early innings there. That's going to expand and batteries are going to go along for the ride. That's kind of a thing behind the thing, or a pick and shovel trade on that. Absolutely love it. Okay. For those of you that are heading out, have a good one. Take care of yourself, Kev. We're going to be ending this here in just a few minutes. I wanted to see if there was anything else going on. Looks like Ondas at the highs here today. Amazon, by the way, looks like it's trying for some new lows. Market seems to be holding in here as well. Market only down. S&P or SPY down here 0.07%. So we are basically near unchanged still.
Sure. So, I hadn't seen. Let me look and see if that's even on my watch list. FLNC.
FLNC. That's the storage name that Jay's on.
Yeah, he's saying that battery names.
That's had a massive day today.
Up because of storage. I'm assuming he's meaning electrical storage, not the other storage names we've been talking about, like Micron and having to do with RAM or anything. Not that type of storage. But Fluence stock, let's see, what does their financials look like? So, and the thing about that, I'm not suggesting that the whole battery market's up on EOSE. I just was mentioning that was the one that's up the most. The one that I really just keeping an eye on, that I would like to work pretty well is ENPH. We are building a lot of solar farms there. That's pretty much in their wheelhouse. So I think if that starts to turn around, I want to be ready for it, because it does look like it's a pretty good company. Just like I said, has a lot of debt.
Yeah. Okay. All right, 13. Closing words for the group here. I know you kind of gave some, so we can do it real quick. Really good day here. Good job again.
Absolutely. Great times, great people, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow for the close of the week. And until then, take care.
All right, 13. Really good stuff here today from start to finish. We are done here for today, folks. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Absolutely gigantic Thursday night football game here tonight. Be sure to enjoy. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll be back to close the week out strong on a Friday.